Wake up, gamers, because you're listening to the Big Think Dimension with Dan and Bob Video Games.
That's a pretty big podcast.
For you. KZ Excellent.
Blah, 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 blah.
And Mr. Feel.
My name's Black Lives Matter Boulevard.
Here on GigaBoots.
Feel, I have news.
Yes?
I watched all of Mythic Quest.
Oh, God.
Both seasons. This is, for people who don't know, this is the Apple TV Plus comedy sitcom series about a developer with an egotist running the studio, constantly ruining everything.
It was at a Ubisoft press conference.
Because it's co-produced by them. I watched all of it. The best way I could summarize this is if somebody took Parks and Rec, homeopathic Parks and Rec, and blended it with Gamer. Like a Mountain Dew Gamer fuel. It was an enlightening, edifying experience watching this. I wouldn't say it was a great show. I wouldn't say that at all. There are some aspects that are pretty enjoyable, but there are many that aren't. The weirdest part about watching it, though, is one episode per season. There are 2 seasons. They just clearly made a short film. And it doesn't involve the cast from the main series. It isn't in the same time space as the main series even. They just go into the backstory of one of the characters who's like an 80-year-old writer in the 70s. They like cover what they were doing in the 70s because they're a renowned writer in the modern timeline. And then the other one was not even the main cast even remotely. These episodes are stellar and shockingly good. And I'm glad, because I looked it up afterwards. I was like, these I would actually recommend on their own. Don't watch any of the rest of Mythic Quest. Just watch these 2 episodes. I'm like, maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm the only person who feels this way. I look it up on IMDb, okay? IMDb.com, boop, Mythic Quest. I'm going to give you some numbers for the first season on how people rated it, okay? Here's how it goes. 7.7, 7.6, 7.5. Oh, wait, this is season 2. Season 2 is actually higher than season 1. 7.3, 7.1, 7.8, 7.5, 9.4, 7.5. People agree. These things are incredibly, like, high fidelity, well executed, very serious, straightforward tone, kind of lighthearted humor, but it's not trying that hard. That was the season 1 episode, 9.4. Season 2 episode where they do the same thing, 9.2. The whole rest of the series, the highest it gets is 8.2 once and then 8.5 another time. Those 2 episodes are really great filmmaking. And it's like, when I hit the end of the first time they do it, I'll go, why is this unlike anything else? And then it turns out, yeah, that guy from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia who
directed both. I'm looking at the list.
That's how insane that is. Where I just hit the end of the first one, I'm like, oh, he directed it, and it's written by some relative. Okay. And then you hit the second one, it's like, this is also directed by him and written by that guy who runs a screenwriting podcast. The guy who's writing The Last of Us. The guy who wrote Chernobyl. And I'm like, holy shit. I'm going to have to be way nicer about what I think of that man's work now.
Damn, I can't believe that when you get talented people to make your shit, it's not bad.
It's really cool. I wish this whole series was that, for the love of God.
And then you showed clips of it, and I was starting to dissolve.
They probably couldn't get approved for like a vignette style series where it's just covering a bunch of random events to do with video games throughout history.
That would have been great.
That would have been great.
That would have been fantastic. I know most people don't have Apple TV Plus. I'm not even recommending you sign up for it, because after this, I went and tried to watch Central Park, the animated show that looks like Bob's Burgers. I couldn't get through 1 episode. I got halfway through and just noped out because they pulled 2 Disney-style musicals in the first half of an episode. And I'm like, nope, I can't. It's not funny. It's not that interesting. I can't do this. I watched all of season 1 of Ted Lasso. It was a sports film. That's it. It's like every sports film you've ever seen. I explained this to Bob. I don't say it with any malice. I'm like, it's just a sports film. I try to boot season 2, episode 1. It plays for Bob, and I didn't know it would do this. So this was like a real win and best case scenario for me. It plays for him a thing summarizing all of season 1, and he starts having a stroke because it's just a trailer for a sports film.
Yeah, but I'm watching it with him and going, this looks like a parody of these, and you're saying it's serious because it's like, it's got the inspirational music, but the way it's filmed and the way they move feel like they're running a bit.
Yes.
When they literally have he posted a sign that says "Believe" above some doorway.
I know. That's the part where I'm like, this is not genuine. They are not taking this seriously.
But that's where you don't get it. Ted Lasso is the most likable American on earth. And the fact that the guy who plays him, Jason Sudeikis, is the executive producer of the series just makes me go, I think he just really wants people to like him. I don't know if there's any other goal with this series. Yeah, it's just a sports film. There's really nothing else to say about Ted Lasso. I don't know why people fell absolutely shit heads over heels in love with fucking a sports film in 2020.
Look, people loved sports films back in the 90s. Then they stopped making them. So now that there's one that's back and a big deal, they're going crazy.
It is pretty high budget. It's clearly higher budget than a Mythic Quest.
I also made the point of, I didn't even know this was about football, as in soccer.
Okay.
And this is obviously a grab to get every market they can. They have the American guy who loves football over directing the highest, something like a soccer thing in Britain. So it's like we have the two biggest things in the world.
Yeah, I know.
Yes.
It truly is trying to hit everything, and instead, it makes me want to die.
So feel okay. Let me run you through it. Okay. The lady you see on the left here, okay? She is, for all intents and purposes, Cruella de Vil. Now, Cruella de Vil has hired Ted Lasso, an American football coach, to teach her football, British, English team. And it's just Ted Lasso so likable. You like him from scene 1. He says literally every distinctly American saying that has ever existed. Ever. Shit people haven't said in 40 fucking years will crawl out of his mouth just so British people could go, what? And then he's like, I guess that's not a saying over here.
Goofy?
Is this modern or is it like a period piece?
No, this is modern.
That seems wrong.
Oh, yeah, 'cause I come in, they're beating us up on Twitter right now.
Yes.
The main thing, all I can really think of looking at this, looking at the image of this cast here, is the guy immediately to the right of Ted Lasso looks like a YouTube skeptic.
1, absolutely, you're fucking on the money. 2, see, that's the really stern, overly egotistical, and very serious member of the team that Ted Lasso has to inspire.
Yeah.
So that way they can win this season.
Yeah, earlier I said the dude on the far left is like the guy makes a YouTube video going, banned from GameStop.
Yeah, it's pretty impressive. Also, you can see the character all the way to the right is a Disney animated cartoon character brought to flesh.
No, he's British.
It's fantastic. But yeah, Ted Lasso's all right. I'm never watching season 2. I've hit my threshold of sports films. I'm good. I don't need another one anytime remotely soon. Maybe 20 years from now, I'll be like, I wonder. They seem to be doing an arc about football is life, kid. Danny Rojas. Maybe I'll get curious enough over the next 20 years to watch season 2. That was my adventure in Apple TV. The subscription Apple gave me a year of for free just barely under a year ago. You can see why I'm doing this.
Yeah.
I just needed to know. Don't get Apple TV.
Don't worry, I didn't intend to.
We watched the fucking trailers for the other series that they called comedies, and Bob's like, none of these are comedies.
Yeah, none of those were comedies.
It's messed up, man.
Like, I'll probably still get it so I can just regularly watch the Jon Stewart thing. But, that'll be it.
Yeah. The Jon Stewart thing was all right. They only have 2 episodes out right now, so I watched it and I was like, cool. It's like The Daily Show, except for they bring people on dying from cancer to talk about, yeah, we should stop burning things at military camps and the government should pay us for the medical care to cover this. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah, that's significantly better than Trevor Noah bringing on Pete Buttigieg and like, look how cool this guy is. He's gay.
Is that how that
Better
went?
than
Yes, that is how that went. That was my introduction to that guy.
Oh,
It's
okay.
better than Trevor Noah going, if you don't like that Apple took the headphone jacks off of iPhones, you're transphobic.
Stop bringing that one up, please.
Sometimes
No,
No,
comedy.
I'm
should
going to
just
bring
be
it up
put out.
forever because there isn't any hyperbole at all. That's just what they did.
Sometimes comedy hits. I'm noticing over there, not so much.
Yeah, I know. John Stewart was great saying, look at me, I'm melting.
Yeah. He opens the fucking first show with, "Hey, I'm Jon Stewart. I've done TV for a while." Silence. "Yeah, I noticed you're seeing how I look now. Don't worry, I'm not happy about it either. Nobody wants to look like an anti-smoking ad."
Yeah, and then people laugh. He's like, I thought you guys liked me.
This is really good. But yeah, any case, Mythic Quest, glad I packed that away in my brain. Season 2 seems to end with the everyone exploding out in every direction. So I don't know that they're ever going to continue that series, and I totally get it. Now for things that are actually video games instead of shows about video games and Ted Lasso. Hey, Bob.
Hey, what's up?
We played Jack 1 and 2.
We sure did.
In a
Hell yeah.
single weekend, we played Jack 1 for... Actually, we ended up under on that one. We ended up 100%ing the game at like 9.5 hours.
Right, which was well below
Yes.
their 100% goal for how long to beat, and also below their beating the game goal by a little bit.
Yeah, you could have beaten the game at 6.5 hours.
Yeah, so that one was pretty lean, pretty short. It helps that, we came in with my attitude towards 3D platformers. Get everything in the early levels because you won't want to try that hard on the later one.
And
But
then
you
we
still
did anyway.
but it was funny.
But we could have beaten it at 6.5 hours if we really just needed to get out. Like, say one of us just got dysentery out of nowhere, we could have gotten out.
Yeah, you had enough. You had like more than enough.
Yeah.
By the time you hit the last hub, so you could have just skipped it.
And that's pretty good.
It
Yeah.
always feels good to be able to skip an entire hub.
Yeah, no, that's power. That's true power.
Yeah, juicy.
But we wanted to get that full ending experience, so we went for the 100%.
That full ending, man. What trash.
Yeah, it's real great.
I think I basically came out of it with the same experience I had dabbling in it, when it came out, and also a couple of years ago to check out the versions of the collection that I got on PS3 and PS4. I feel like it should have a stronger writing and a better cast of characters. I feel like
With names.
the open world style, because it just streams the environments,
Yeah.
just leads to a lot of samey environments, and none of them are really fun. I wouldn't say any of the areas in Jack 1 are fun, right?
I kind of enjoyed some of them, but it is a lot more down to earth. Like it reminds me more of like a Sunshine than a really good Mario game.
Well, see, that's the thing. The thing with Sunshine is that it's very, very much one aesthetic the whole game.
Yeah.
So it kind of limits them. And I kind of felt like this ended up in a similar zone where many of the areas didn't, feel fantastically different. But really, and I'm not saying they were miserable. We'll get to that later. I'm just saying the levels in this weren't overly fun, right?
Yeah.
Like, I don't think of any one moment and go, oh, that was a really fun moment in Jack 1. And that's weird. I'm not used to finishing a video game and be like, it was oatmeal the whole way.
Yeah, I think the what holds it back is just the platforming feels a little too slow. Like he's too slow in air.
Yeah.
So you don't ever feel like you get in a good rhythm of things. You feel like you're kind of fighting the controls a little bit.
Yeah, I feel like it would be nice if he moved faster in general. But, as we found out from them talking about it openly, they had a problem with his movement speed where they couldn't stream the environment in time.
Yeah.
So they would just make him slip if he was moving too fast.
Which you actually got one of those, and it was great.
Yes, man, we almost went the whole game without getting one of those.
Yep.
Yeah.
We were playing the PS3 version, so it was a little bit better than PS2. I remember on PS2, my PS2, my older brother's PS2, had problems. It was a launch model. So while it could play games just fine, maybe it wasn't as ideal for streaming shit nonstop. So Jack slipped a few times, and back in the day, when I didn't know this was, quote, a clever cover for covering technology's ass, I was just like, what sort of idiot makes a game where your main character slips at random? I didn't know Brawl was coming 5 years later.
Yeah, that must have come off insane. I think mine was in a much better condition when I played Jack original.
Yeah.
So I don't remember the slipping basically at all.
The slipping happened to me at least 3 or 4 times just going throughout the village, right?
Wow.
Back in the day. And I didn't play that game for more than 2 hours, I don't think. Maybe 3. And yeah, it just came off as, wow, how fucking bizarre. who codes your main character just slipping and falling on his ass at random? I don't really have much else to say. I wish the soundtrack in Jak 1 was stronger. It's definitely not holding its own against any of the others. I feel like Ratchet had a better soundtrack on the PS2, and so did Sly. I don't know what's with the soundtrack. It's almost completely drums. It doesn't have memorable melodies. Like, it's almost all completely left me at this point. Because there aren't any melodies that stick with you. Every time, this is how fucked up it is. Every time I try to remember one of the songs, I go, no, that was Crash Bandicoot. I'm like, I'm remembering the instrument, and I'm like, how did that instrument go? And it's like, no, that's Crash. You're remembering Crash 1. It's weird because they have the same composers from the Crash series. They have Mark Mothersbaugh and the other guy. And somehow...
It's so sad.
Somehow it's just not really memorable melodies. And the story, as I said, it doesn't really... It's not terribly compelling. And I didn't really enjoy the cast of characters all that much. Having a mute main character that doesn't do much doesn't really help balance out Daxter, because normally you have a straight man and then the funny guy, and Daxter's clearly the funny guy. I feel like just because you're a straight man, that doesn't mean you can be mute. So somehow the dynamic doesn't really work out in one for me.
I'm spinning.
Yes, that's his iconic voice line. Man, I'm pretty. Bob, did you have anything you want to say about Jak 1 before we move on?
Not much. I enjoyed it more than you did, I think. Like, I actually did legitimately like the style of it, like the aesthetic of a lot of the areas, even though it was kind of samey. I kind of liked, and I liked some of the designs, but yeah, I didn't feel like I needed a story so much. I don't know. This is still like a 7 or something for me at most. It's fine.
Yeah.
Like, that's most of what my feelings were on it.
Here, one moment, Bob. I'm just gonna do a GameSpot TV. Just say the number and the word. Fine. Okay.
7. Fine.
Thank you. Yeah, I'd probably end up somewhere around there. It's fine. I feel like if his movement is slowed down for the streaming stuff, then I would really prefer they just do a normal fucking game with levels.
Yeah, like, we didn't need the streaming environments because that doesn't help it very much. And just him feeling better to move around would make that game like go up a point.
Oh yeah,
easy.
Because
I think the moveset isn't bad. It's just that everything feels weirdly slow, and the long jump is bizarre.
It's the only video game I think I've ever played where the feeling is you want to go fast, do this long jump that locks you into a direction for like a full second before you jump. And you always go the same length. Like, you can't manage how far you go in the long jump, like, say, a Mario 64 or even a Banjo-Kazooie. You have midair control in both. This is just, fuck you, kid. You're going that far, and you're going in that direction you hit a second ago. And this is such a bizarre game because the fastest form of movement, I believe, is either the long jump or punching. And since you can't long jump in most situations, it's just like...
It's that long jump.
I'm gonna keep punching because I need to go around a corner in a second. Yeah. I wish I enjoyed it more. But then we did some shit. We finished Jak 1 so fast we got cocky.
yeah, absolutely.
Literally, if you want to see us at our cockiest, go watch the end of the Jak 1 stream.
Yeah, that was innocent. We bought a gallon of tea for $8. We were that cocky.
I'll explain that in a fucking second. We sit there, right? We're like, we 100% of the game, 2.5 hours under how long the beat said. We 100% of Jak 1 in less time than they said it would take to beat Jak 1. There's no fucking way that Jak 2 is 18 hours.
Well, it turns out it wasn't. It was 17 hours and 51 minutes.
So we went into streaming that the next day. I can summarize my feelings on Jak 2 real fast. I have become incredibly sympathetic after playing through Jak 1 to the idea that they need to give Jak more of a image, a calling card, whatever, because I imagine at the same time that they finished Jak 1 and they're working on Jak 2, they're dealing with GTA eating their lunch because they're no longer the best-selling game on a platform, which Crash really was, right? This is what Naughty Dog was used to. GTA's eating their lunch, and then they look at Insomniac and Sucker Punch, and they're both working on 3D platformers with an angle, right? They're working on Ratchet and Clank, which is the third-person shooter platformer, and its gimmick is like all these interesting guns and worlds. Then you got Sly over here, where it's like got a really strong cast of characters, and it's going for a specific angle. And I bet if I were there at the studio, I would make the same decision that we need to give Jak an image. It needs to have a distinct thing it's going for. We've aged out of, or our demographic has aged out of us. We need to do something. So I've become incredibly sympathetic to that over the course of playing Jak and Daxter. Jak 2 is a miserable fucking game, and every mission is designed by Satan.
Yeah, I know. It's great, ain't it?
If it weren't for the incredibly heinously designed missions and the auto aim being the worst,
it was great watching that happen, where it's like, hey, Dan, shoot that thing in front of you. You're going to shoot behind you because this game is evil.
it's literally that. It's literally just, you're firing a gun directly at a dude. Somehow you hit a stop sign 50 feet behind you. It is that fucking bad.
This was another one of those games that you're going to play and you're going to hate. And I'm like, oh, come on. It's not that bad. And then I watch it and go, man, this is fucking awful. I love it, but it's truly awful.
I think the auto aim shows its true like devilry. When you aim it at an enemy right in front of you, Jak shoots the other direction at the ally and hurts him.
Yeah.
And it's an escort mission where you need him to survive.
I just love it because then the chat's like, come on, you didn't aim. And then I'm like, oh, come on, guys.
They're like, the auto aim's fine. And then I timed them out because I was, I think we were 14 hours in at that point. And I'm like, demonstrably, no.
Even I'm not doing it.
I've never played a video game, I think, in my life where I would go, this would go up 1 to 2 points if you let me aim. I don't think there's ever been a game where was that big of an issue.
And the camera.
Yes.
The camera can't go up or down.
When you're fighting the crew boss fight and you kept getting to the end but couldn't because the camera swivels away from the enemy, you're going, he paid him off.
Yes, I'm like, fucking crew paid off Cameron. We're fucked. And it's like, your camera's not good. Why did you build this boss arena with complex vertical struts that the camera will get stuck in?
It worked for the cutscene.
That difficulty. We did it. We made it hard.
We made it hard. Yeah, that's really it for me. Just because I appreciate the story, right? It didn't need to take 18 hours. That's
Oh yeah,
that's a real fucking mistake.
Yeah, with the point where it took 18 hours, I forgot about a lot of stuff they go back to because they wait way too long to pick up the threads.
That was my favorite part where you're like, Bob's like, who's this guy? I'm like, oh, that's Errol. That's the commander of the entire police force.
You haven't seen him in 13 hours.
He gets 2 cutscenes, and in the first one, in hour 1, explains that he's a top racer, and they never mention it again until the racing arc. You cut that game's like length in half. That fixes the story problems of nothing actually happens. There's just missions to be like, yeah, this is showing them being a resistance, and there are other games that can do that in half the time.
Yeah,
some of them that you will be playing tomorrow.
I feel like this is the only 3D platformer, allegedly, because the shooting is such a big part of Jak.
Yeah, there's so much of this game was like, this isn't a 3D platformer at all, guys.
I think if I were to break it down, what levels even come off as designed for a 3D platformer versus the rest, it's something like 12%. It's 12 to 20 because most of the missions are escort these guys down a sewer and shoot things. Shoot these things in order to pick up this money.
Walk a straight line to shooting stuff. Or drive around the city.
Yeah, then there's the taxi shit where it's like, hey, our open world's very impressive. It's hallways, and there are 2 layers. There's the ground floor, and then there's slightly up in the air. We have vehicles and pedestrians on both the left and right side of these narrow-ass hallways on both vertical heights. And so the open world missions become really rough in the sense of like randomly, it can just keep spawning people in you. Like in your way, and you need to go fast because everything's on a tight timer.
Or you have to pick up a car that's like directly next to you, but it's being spawned by the open world itself and not necessarily the mission. So sometimes it's just not there.
Oh yeah. I actually, after we beat this and I got the platinum using the debug thing to give me every egg, I went and tried to do a platinum run on the PS3 version. By the way, the PS4 version's fucking bad. Do not play that.
Yeah.
If you could get access to the PS3 version, please fucking play that one instead.
Yeah, I pushed hard for the PS4 version because I assumed there was no way for you to use a DualSense on a PS3.
Yeah, also
to cut down on the input lag.
And part of the reason you found the PS4 version appealing is that it had because we're playing it on the PS5, somebody's face melted in the short time we did
Jack's
the tech
face,
preview.
A piece of it shot out and stretched across 20 feet and kept spinning.
Yeah, wildly.
In a test thing. And I'm like, well, we've got to do that. So you played 18 hours and it didn't do it.
Yeah. Happened in the first hour and 10 minutes of me doing that test run, but 18 hours of us playing it, and it's like, no, I'm fine.
Yeah, and this was one of those fucked up death streams where I did, in fact, have 3 square meals. Toward the end, fucking Bob's off getting Egg McMuffins.
Yeah, this,
While Dan dies to awful Rayman 2-esque chase scene where they kind of show you the front of the enemy, like, behind you.
Yes.
And then he keeps missing this jump, and I'm like, I'm becoming deep fried.
It's I can't express to people. It sounds insane every time I say it, but it's genuinely true. I've been wanting to play Jak 3 for something like 16 years.
Yes,
And every magazine and every article and every review is like, you need to play Jak 2. And I'm just like, I'm not going to do that.
Well, you finally did.
Well, I finally did it. I get to play Jak 3. I'm very fascinated because I can see how if you just made Jak 2, that wasn't so long that this is one of the only 3D platformers I've ever played, right? Where this happens. Normally, this only happens in open world games. The game is so long that the plot lines start decomposing in the player's mind, right?
Yeah,
where it's just
the
like
racing one might be the worst.
Yes.
Where it's like you do a race, you set up that you're going to do the race stuff in mission 8. You do races like 2 and 3 in mission 62.
Yeah.
Or some shit like that. It's crazy.
Yeah, there's a shitload of content in this game too, but it's all really bad.
Yeah, it's all really bad. I cannot wait for that stream because you're going to see them actively deconstruct Jak 2 from a molecular level in terms of every single way. They're like, wow, they really went and tried to fix this shit. Like in every aspect, and also the fact that it's funny that I played Jak 3, the Jak series, in backwards order.
Oh, yeah.
So my entire identity has always been, yeah, this is a platformer. It has guns. But with 2, I can understand there's no platforming in that.
Yeah.
3's got platforming in it. Like a good chunk, and all the other things. It really does feel like Jak 2 is an unfinished game. In like most areas of, they didn't get to fully act upon their idea.
I can't say it's an unfinished game when it's 18 hours long.
Yeah, I just mean in the ideas that they had for the game, where it's like, we want to do this with guns, we want to do this with vehicles, we want to do an open world where you take these missions, because all of it has this unrefined, and escort things. All of these are unrefined and at times really terrible and evil. Like even stuff down to the map icon just spins because we don't know how to do and it takes them a whole sequel to like iron that stuff out. I feel like it might be one of the strongest sequels in terms of upgrades.
Yeah, which is funny because normally when you get that buff, when it's the sequel that improves stuff so much, it's the second one. But the problem is that Jak 2 really isn't a sequel to Jak and Daxter.
No.
It's a very tonally and structurally different game. And since there's now the shooting, it's also very different in that aspect. But yeah, I wish I could aim the gun.
Yeah, I'm like, this thing is a full year or something after Ratchet and Clank.
Let me look it up.
Ratchet and Clank 2 comes out really close to Jak 2.
Let me check it out.
There's a Going Commando poster in Jak 2.
Yeah.
That's true. Yeah.
So they thought this was okay to put to market was these shooting mechanics is just disrespectful.
They spent 2 years making this game.
Yeah.
At some point, you got to ship what you got.
Yeah.
And they made a whole lot, and none of it was good.
Yeah, I'm like, no, I'm sorry. At some point, you have to scrap all of it.
Did you guys engage with the incredible stealth mechanics at all?
I mean,
Did you engage with the fact that if you flatten against a wall, police cannot find you no matter what the wall is?
Oh, I did some really kooky shit like that where what was it? I committed a crime and just jumped out of the car and hid behind the car I committed the crime in.
Yes. Yes, all of that was really funny.
I might be remembering wrong, but you can like get police aggro, just flatten on a wall in full view, and it goes, oh, you're in stealth, they can't see you.
I didn't even think there was a
They don't
thing
know
where
where
you
you
flatten
are.
to the walls.
Yeah, I also didn't think that either, and I've
there
played through
is.
these a bunch.
Huh.
Yeah. Yeah, really looking forward to you hitting 3 and X.
So here's what's confusing to me, okay? We always hear that Ratchet and Clank and Sly, or at very least Ratchet and Clank, I think it's also Sly, run on the Jack 2 engine, right?
Yeah.
Like, you hear that a lot. I just looked up Jack 3, and it's like, Jack 3 runs on the Kinetica engine. I went, what?
What? What engine is that?
Kinetica's game on the PS2. It's made by Sony Santa Monica. It's a really impressive looking game, but
That's a weird racing game with the people in their bike suits, right?
yes,
Okay.
which is why it's really funny then that Jack X is a racing game, because of course if Jack 3 was made on a racing game engine,
Yeah,
that
you'll
kind of
say.
makes that easier.
All of them were made on Kinetica. I'm looking at it right now, like all 3 Jack games. And also Ratchet and Clank and Sly Cooper. And also God of War 1 and 2.
Okay, so I always heard credit being given to... One moment, I'm not seeing this come up. At least not on Wikipedia. Are you using something else?
I found a page called Kinetica Game Engine on the Ultimate Pop Culture Wiki.
According to Sony Santa Monica's wiki, their wiki page on Wikipedia, Jack 1 and 2 don't seem to be, but according to Jack, and also it doesn't credit Jack 3 as being on the Kinetica engine. Okay, so this is fucked up.
Yeah, who
Wikipedia
knows?
is disagreeing with itself.
I'm looking at most things seem to say at least Jack 2 was also on the Kinetica engine.
Jack 2 and 3 have to be on the same engine, having watched you do 2, and then I played 3 in like one sitting.
Okay, yeah, this other source I found also says that. Also, Daxter was made on that.
Oh, that's great, because that's ready at dawn. We actually hit that stretch goal, so we're going to be playing Daxter and
Lost Frontier.
Lost Frontier.
The Lost Frontier,
Lost
the very
Fron-
first game where the entire story was made by Neil Druckmann.
Yeah.
And also the game that they will 100% ignore if they bring Jack back.
I'm very excited to play that game. I'm not excited to play Daxter. I own that and just threw it away or traded it in for $2.
I feel like it's an incredibly rare for me to ever go, I can't wait to play a PSP game.
Oh yeah, I like Dissidia and Third Birthday and stuff.
Yeah, I know. It's like some Square stuff where I'm like, okay, I'll jump on this. But even then, it's still like
Oh,
5 or under.
I love the PSP. The PSP has a lot of really cool stuff. It got Mega Man powered up. It's got that Ultimate Ghosts and Goblins, which is its own game. It's not just a port.
Yeah, I have an appreciation through the amount of emulation tools that thing specifically has that are better than PS2 emulation.
Yep. Not surprising. It's a much simpler architecture, and the PSP was so good.
I don't know, the fact that they're unlocking like full net play now.
Yep. Isn't that cool?
The thing I always remember about PS2 emulation, or not PS2 emulation, but the PS2, is somebody who worked for Sony describing what it was like to make things for the PS2. It's like Sony would give you like a 2-foot thick stack of manuals.
Oh, and it's all poorly translated too.
Yeah, but like he's like you'd read them and you wouldn't understand anything in them.
Yeah.
Nothing. Then you'd read them all again and you'd sort of understand some of the things in them.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
And then
good.
on the 3rd or 4th read, you'd be able to start making a game.
And you better pray that there's someone else who's like an engine level engineer or a system engineer who works at your dev studio, so you could talk to them to be like, this is what they mean, right? Because yeah, you read those manuals, it doesn't make any fucking sense. The PS3 is the ultimate sequel to the PS2 and the biggest fucking mistake they've ever made.
It's a Cerny, what does this mean? And he's like, don't worry about it.
And then he touched their nose and they cried. Yeah, very excited for Jack 3. Very disappointed at Jack 2. I had only played the first hour-ish of that game before, and I assumed it would be a lot of missions like that with platforming and characters and moving to different environments. And no, you just keep going back to the same places and doing really bad escort. Escort mission is like one of the first 4 missions in the game. And it's, hey, protect me from these enemies that will infinitely spawn while I charge up this gun and shoot that enemy on a ledge.
God.
I love the fact that the entire time my brain went, don't worry, they're going to get to some like stuff that I really liked. It's all three. As it turns out, me playing that one first, and since they're similar locations at times, I'm like, okay, well, some of the stuff's going to cross over. Or there's some really bad missions in 3. They're all 2. So I can actually fully divorce it, which I was like, oh, this is great.
Yeah, I'm glad going back. I feel fully justified as a kid being like, no, I'm done after 2 hours.
I mean, I totally understand.
Like,
Yeah.
it's literally the worst content possible. Like,
I wish there was something I could look back on and be like, that was great. But like at the highest, I think missions hit like ever so slightly better than the first one. And I think there are 2 missions that do that in the entire game, where it's just like, hey, there are these cool metalhead dragons you need to catch. Go out there, get the scouts and just tackle them. And I'm like, okay, this is a beautiful environment I'm going around in. All right, this seems fine.
we got like our second platforming mission 80% into the game.
Yeah,
It was really dire.
it was insane.
But it was undone because there's a giant spider in it.
I mean, that was rough, but it was still better than basically anything else in the game, which is
Okay.
insane.
Okay, yes, you are right.
Yeah, that was absolutely nuts. This is not how I expected Jak 2 to go at all.
I'm actually very sad that every memory I had of 2 was really just things in 3 when it comes to positive things.
Yeah.
Literally, my only like big thing that I came out of going, I like Jak 2 is like, I now know context for Jak 3
Yeah.
of how they get there and like certain characters returning and enemy concepts and stuff.
You're like, now this goatee I get, but what's with the Dark Jak? I need that explained. They're like, oh, we injected him with Dark Eco, and you're like, all right.
I'm like,
Thank you.
How did the city get to this point? You know, who is this character? Who is this character Torn who is hilarious?
Yeah, I also everything I keep hearing about the open deserts of the next game, and I'm like, that sounds nothing like a terrible city hallway.
Oh,
So I have to wonder.
you are gonna lose your mind.
I'm very excited. I am genuinely very excited, but there were so many countless moments
Oh yeah.
during Jak 2 where I went, this sure was made by the same fucking people who made Uncharted 1.
Yes. There's just this aspect in 2 where they made 2 and they went, the slums suck. And you get to see them try their best to be like, how do we avoid ever even touching that again? Just ever. It is something.
Also, the music's way worse than 1. Boom, 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 boom.
I like the vibe of some tracks, but he's allowed to make melodies in the next one, so that's cool.
That's neat. That's neat. This unlike the first one, this has like a dynamic soundtrack. Like it changes depending on what you're doing. And I think they got lost in that and made bad music. I think that's
Yeah, there's like
what
one
happened here.
song for the open world and it's really bad, but it can change if the cops see you.
And and
And change into bad songs.
and that's what you're listening to 13 hours of this game.
Yeah, it's
Yeah, it's a real problem.
you need multiple tracks of like each type.
You better make sure if I have to hear a song for 13 hours, it's a great goddamn song.
Or yeah, because otherwise they should have had a theme for each chunk of that map you're in.
Yeah, anything. There are numerous things. None of them got done somehow. I need to look up as soon as we're done with Jak Month more postmortems. I tried to look up one. I tried to look
You
up
almost
one.
got spoiled.
Yeah, I watched the Double Fine like plays with the developer, and they got Jason Rubin to play Jak and Daxter. I'm like, okay, this is cool. And Tim Schafer's like, there's Jak and his weird goofy friend. And then Jason Rubin goes, oh, that's Daxter. He goes, oh, I didn't know Daxter was human. And he goes, yeah, he gets turned into the furry thing in a second here. And then Tim Schafer goes, does he ever get turned back? Jason Rubin goes, I hit pause. I'm like, fuck you, come on. This is the first cutscene of the game.
Yeah, I know. It always reminds me of my friend Sky, who was like going through some God of War docs and hadn't gone through 3 yet. And they were like, we're going to be talking about animations. So here's footage of the ending of God of War 3.
Well, that's a billion times more sane than me trying to check out what's the best version. Is the PS4 version of the Jack and Daxter collection running on PS5 good enough? And they're like, no, during the final boss, which you now see on screen for Jack and Daxter 1.
People are so bad.
I'm like, this is 43 seconds into this video. What the fuck are you doing?
This is like the reverse of Digital Foundry that goes, I don't know, the performance is pretty good for these first 2 levels.
Yeah, the first 2 hours of this game are rock fucking solid.
The part we optimized the most looks great.
Yes. It's funny how many times that falls apart. I think Dread might be the strongest example of that recently. But, you know, I understand they don't have time to dive bomb an 11-hour game or whatever.
Yeah.
Right.
While trying to do performance analysis.
Yeah. Their thing takes way longer than most things do.
Oh, yeah.
It'll probably take them longer than their first playthrough of that game, and they cover like 18 things.
Right. They're so busy over there all the fucking time.
But
yeah, I'm very excited for Jack 3. I could not imagine how disappointed I would be in Jack 2.
I think you're going to like Jack 3, but then like Jack X the most.
People started in the middle of Jack 2 as me and Bob are just like, man, this is clearly just their only idea for difficulties misery. Like they're a fucking Eurojank developer.
Yes.
People in chat are like, I'm very excited for The Lost Frontier to be their favorite Jack game. And then I'm very excited for Jack X to be their favorite Jack game. And I'm like, guys, this is ridiculous. Then someone said Daxter, and I'm like, okay, that's absurd.
See, Jack X makes sense. It's their last outing on the PS2. They're still trying to push tech, high poly cars, some fun gimmicks in the races and stuff. I get that. Lost Frontier, it's just like, there's someone different, so they're going to like it more. It's like, motherfucker, you shoot with triangle.
Yeah, I'm like, one of our major problems, Bob talked about it a second ago, you can't look down. You know how many blind jumps there are in Jack 2?
And I finally looked at it. It just looks like Jack 2 on the PSP.
You keep saying the thing about you shoot with triangle, but I can't imagine how that matters. You don't aim in this game. What's it matter where the shoot button is?
I'm just thinking about when it's on that, it just reminds you how bad are the controls entirely going to feel with limited buttons, and I just imagine playing that like on
Very excited for the claw.
the PSP nub.
It already felt like they were making a game with limited buttons because they were insane.
Yeah, I know, but then fucking you haven't played Jack 3 yet, and Jack 2 no longer exists.
I just sat there, and by this point in the stream where people start saying this about The Lost Frontier, I'm like, guys, one of our largest problems is that we can't look down. The PSP, there's no way it's solving that. It only has one analog stick. So yeah, very excited for Jack 3. Not excited at all for Daxter, just to be fucking clear.
Oh yeah, the radiation of every stream is you just going, I'm gonna hate fucking Daxter because it's also basically Jack 2.
Well, yeah, this shit, like, it's not even that. It's like, I don't need a whole game of Daxter. What the fuck?
I don't want a movie called Timon.
Who needs an ice cream sundae? I'll just take nothing but cherries and nuts.
Oh God.
But yeah, so I'm not excited for that. I got that with my PSP 2000 model and just chucked it.
You ate the UMD.
I might have gained its power.
Opsel.
Bob, did you want to say anything about Jack 2?
Not really. I've already talked about how upsetting it is on every level.
Cool.
Like,
I'm with you. It's evil. It's fucked up.
Yeah, I
a
just
trash game. I don't know.
And part of me is like, did they take the worst lessons possible from GTA? Because part of me, when you're doing those escorts and stuff, I'm like, this is kind of GTA-like.
Oh yeah, it feels like they looked at GTA and they hollowly mimicked it in the worst ways.
And then chat goes, this reminds me of a GTA mission. I'm like, yo, our playthroughs of those PS2 GTA games are going to be the roughest shit we've ever been through.
Oh, there's some missions there. It's not even like follow the train, CJ. You're just going to hit some shit in Vice City that's going to fucking suck.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's when you put in the all weapons cheat codes and have a rocket launcher. And you're like, yeah, this is how the game's meant to be played.
One, absolutely. I do not care about the authenticity of a legit playthrough of that game. Two, you know what helps GTA Vice City? It's fucking soundtrack.
Yes.
That you can't play on
That's
stream.
true.
Yeah, that I can't play on stream. I'll be making a custom playlist if we do play through that. But it would have been nice if Jack not had licensed music, but had an amazing soundtrack.
Yeah. Yeah. Wouldn't say 3's amazing, but I do enjoy it.
I don't think it will be hard for it to be the best Jack game.
It's not a high bar. It has to be a little bit better than a 7. That's it. That's all I ask for.
Yeah. All I ask for
is a little
Bob's
bit.
like, can I please jump on a platform?
Can I get a 7.1, sir?
Yes, a 7.1 is your huge target here. Come on.
I want the controller to be passed to me and not have to dread it.
So for other games I played, nothing. I took a week off, basically. I turned out some videos. Like, we got the Analog Gaming up, and I did work on the next several episodes of Analog Gaming.
Hooray!
That shit takes hours. But I just basically did that, fucked around with random retro games like Super Punch-Out and stuff on the CRT while watching Ted Lasso. It helps me decompress to watch a thing instead of play a thing. I didn't want to start Kena in this burnt out state I've arrived at because of things I went through last week, plus our streaming schedule leading up to this.
Yeah.
So for people who think it's just the streams, it's not. It's other shit in my life.
Yeah.
And also the nonstop streaming.
Yeah.
But now that that's fixed and everything's in the clear and I can breathe and shit, this week has been great. I really enjoyed getting to watch Ted Lasso. I did not think Ted Lasso was amazing, but I enjoyed getting to watch it. But yeah, I'm not going to talk about random retro games that I played like Super Punch-Out and shit. I'm just going to take this opportunity again to shill the mister because goddamn, what a great innovation in retro gaming. Single
Real
best
cool.
thing in the fucking world for retro gaming. Bob.
God, I keep forgetting to bring over something to put those ROMs on. I mean, those legitimate backups we have.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, cut that out.
Bob, did you play anything else?
Not much. I was able to. I'm trying to burn through Tales of Arise, so I have that finished for Game of the Year.
Yeah.
I finally got like all the characters on my team. They introduced other stuff that I was hoping would be in it, but I wasn't sure it would be in it. Like there's an arena, there's fishing. It feels like a fully fledged JRPG from back in the good old days.
Yeah, because you could fish.
Yes.
That's important.
It is important. They actually made a decent minigame around, and unfortunately, they didn't. It's hilarious when they introduce it. They're like, here's 2 screens of text about there being a fishing game. Play it. And then you play it, and it's like, this is impossible. You have to like get out of playing it to read the tutorial and figure out what you're even supposed to do to catch fish. So then
Yeah, it's like the most complicated fishing minigame I've ever seen in a game, in an RPG.
So you skip through it to get out of that, and the character acts like, yeah, I just caught a fish, and it's like, no, you didn't. I had to go read how to catch a fish. Now we can actually do it, lady. But that was cool. I was really glad to see that stuff was there. I'm wondering if the game's going to rapidly end now, but I won't think about that. I'm going to do side quests for a little while. Something I'm finding really funny. There's the owl named Hoodle, right?
Yeah, best thing in the world.
Sometimes when you start a battle, the main character, the character who owns Hoodle, Rinwell, will just start the battle by saying, "Hide, Hoodle." And I always hear it is, "Hi, Hoodle," and then we start fighting monsters.
You've now effectively poisoned me because I'm still barely into the game. So I'm gonna think that the whole time.
Yeah, no, it started real early. As soon as she started saying it, I couldn't unhear it because it's way too close. It's like, why is she just greeting her bird before she starts fighting? But I'm having fun with it. It seems real cool. It's really nice to play a game like this with budget. Something that I haven't done in quite a while. And the only other thing I played was Genshin Impact's terrible new rhythm game.
Oh yeah, it's not new. They've done it before, but
I feel like they've never
it's not
demanded
any
this
better.
much. Like this feels like it's them trying to make it harder than they ever have before.
I think they just tried to make it more complex, but it's so poorly conveyed visually that the end result is that it's harder.
Yeah, exactly. The whole problem is it's a horrible visual to it that makes it almost unplayable.
It's still not as bad as the Persona ones. But it's right there. It's
worse,
right there.
It's worse than the Persona ones when you're playing the Persona 1 on the Vita. Because I played it all the way through that and kind of enjoyed it. This is unbearable. I can't play it.
Yeah, on
the
Vita,
problem
I can assail the Persona dancing game.
The problem is that it uses the 4 face buttons and the 4 D-pads directions. And like a ring will appear around one of the buttons that represents it and close, and you have to hit it when it's, closed around the button perfectly. You can't tell the order you're supposed to hit them in sometimes because they're all so close together.
Yeah, and the rings recede and like a really slow, hard to really differentiate. If there's more than one ring on screen, it's super hard to do. It's awful.
It wasn't as bad for me because I was able to sort of do it because I've heard these songs a million times because I play the game a lot. But yeah, it's rough.
Yeah, just put it on a track. What is wrong with you?
Yeah, I don't know. I did it to get the battle pass points and the rolling currency, and that's it.
Yeah, I tried to do every difficulty level, but I got through that like three of the songs, and then it became so annoying, and I was redoing them so much at the harder difficulties. I was like, I'm just gonna do the normal difficulty for all of these so I can get the primo gems and peace out. This is bad.
See, at least they understand. Like, I'm really happy that they've understood that this might not be good for encouraging you to do all their content, but it's great for me where they're like, the easiest thing gives you the best rewards and the hardest thing gives the worst rewards.
Yeah,
I'm like, thank you.
Yeah, the reward you get for the hardest thing is basically what you can get from doing a random battle that takes like 30 gems.
Oh my god.
Or 30, not gems, whatever the energy
takes
is.
20 energy. Takes 20 energy. So it takes 1/8 of your daily energy.
Yeah. I'll do that.
So Bob, have you caught up to this on the story of Genshin Impact?
I did finish it, yes.
How much do you not give a shit about Tepe?
I knew it would be about Tepe. They sure try to sell that dude hard for being a random NPC.
The Tepe arc might be like the worst thing I have seen in a game lately.
Yeah, I don't think is this the thing where you're
Scarlet
like
Nexus, so it's not that bad,
True.
but it's up there.
I recall Phil saying, Bob, catch up on the story, it's for the awards.
Yes, that character will be on a worst character list.
I can't believe they didn't even actually finish the Tepe arc. Like, they hype so much behind it, and then we never see him again.
What?
Oh, he's dead.
I don't think they even said he was dead.
They imply it really strongly. Like that's why when racist femboy Emperor Palpatine is telling you to give in to rage, you get really pissed. because your best friend Tepe from 3 missions died.
I need to get into Genshin Impact. I gotta learn about Tepe.
Yes, Tepe. And what did you just call him? Jesus.
Racist femboy Emperor Palpatine. His actual name is Scaramouche.
Which I hate because I feel like that's like the third time I've heard him mention it on occasion.
I can't wait till I can roll for him.
I know. I'm also super excited about rolling for Scaramouche.
Gonna get C6. Okay, Emperor Palpatine.
That's it for what I played this week.
That's great, Bob. We're throwing it now to KZ. KZ?
Shin Megami Tensei 5's coming out next month, so I'm playing 4 Apocalypse on stream in preparation for it, just so I can get into that general mood. That's so much better than 4, it's kind of insane. I talked a little bit months ago when I played 4 about how it had the worst map in all of JRPGs, where it's a city-style map where you're going down roads, but enemies spawn on it, and there are 85 dead ends everywhere. And there are rocks and poison floors, so you're just constantly running into traps and fighting 10 times more enemies than you want to.
Oh, the Jack 2 of JRPG maps.
Oh, good.
I think it might be worse, because I feel like you spend more time lost there than you do in Jack 2. But Jack 2 is like a 2. This is like a 0. In terms of like map navigation. You hit this game. 1, they put a flag where your next goal is throughout the entire game. So you immediately know, I have to go that way. On top of that, they clear every single road. So you can easily navigate over to wherever it is. But for progress blockers in this, they decided what to do is to be like, the Japan like railway system will open up and be like, this area is now open, like this region. So it'll open that up throughout the plot. Or sometimes a fairy goes, I don't want you to be able to get over here, so I made a giant rock and threw it over there. So you can't get past this part. Or like a red NPC will block a location. So it actually feels like really good to navigate. They also like added a bunch of quirks to the combat to make it generally a lot better, a lot more balanced and stuff. So like demons have affinities towards skills. So they'll have like a +4 for Bufu because they're like good at ice. But if you put a fire skill on them, it'll be minus. So it'll still work, but it'll do a lot less damage. But you might still want it just so you can, if you're hitting a weakness, you're getting more advantages on turns. So they have a lot of good stuff there. Just in general, I feel like tone and everything, it's doing a lot better. But I'm excited to play that and get hyped up for 5 because 5's coming out in like 3 weeks now. So I just wanted to knock that out beforehand. And then people are like, you gonna play 1 and 2? And I'm like, no. I have 3 weeks and I'm trying to be happy.
Are you saying some crusty NES RPG is gonna make you happy?
Hey, they're on the Super Nintendo.
Yeah, Bob.
Yeah, Bob. I'm not playing them.
I think there's mobile ports now that have like quality of life features forcibly crowbarred into them, but they're stuck on mobile.
Yeah,
Yes.
and also some
cares?
of them are like in Japan only. I'm pretty sure.
Yes.
But still, it's just like no. Part of me entertained it when I was going through 3 and 4 months and months ago, but a move and many other things happened between then. But this is one of my favorites, so I wanted to crunch it out, just get that done. Say hi to legally distinct Stephen Hawking again. Chill out with him a little bit.
They're cowards for changing it from just straight up Stephen Hawking.
Well, his name is Stephen.
I know. It's like, what's your last name?
Yeah.
Shut up. That's my last name.
Yes.
He better be in the new game.
I sure hope so, because he is the creator of the demon summoning program for every single game.
They might do some DLC with him. That's what they did for 4 Apocalypse, I think.
Yes, I might be doing that. It's like Saviors of the Diamond Realm, where you pick up as party members every protagonist from every mainline game. And they work as a secondary party that gets their turns on your off turns, and then you just fight Stephen Hawking. And he does the Trails thing of, I have to stop holding back, is now floating above his chair. And they just repurpose the final boss's attacks and make them Stephen Hawking references. They are insane.
That's pretty good.
But yeah, really excited for 5, so I wanted to go through that. Aside from that, I did Jak 3 in one sitting, just so I could know. And then I was like, oh yeah, man, I attached everything to Jak 3, huh? Man, that is kind of crazy. Entering the end of a level and it just naturally goes to it instead of look around for the thing that'll take you back to the beginning.
Which isn't there every time.
It isn't there every time, which means it's there no times.
I wish it was there every time. That would be understandable, because there are tons of times where we would finish in the park and it's like, walk your ass a mile back to the house. And I'm like, it feels like my dad drove me out here and said, walk home.
Yeah, and sometimes walk a mile back or walk 300 yards back and then think to turn left.
Yeah. I don't know.
Whereas here it's like, oh, just go. But yeah, that's all I played this week.
That's cool. Hey, Mr. Feel.
Genshin Impact. I want to say one more thing about it because it got like a patch this week, and I haven't done most of the stuff other than the bad rhythm game. They fixed the ring menu, I think.
What do you mean?
Genshin Impact. Well, remember how it would always hit the wrong thing?
I've still been having that issue since this update, so...
Oh, I haven't, so I thought they finally fixed it. I guess fucking not. I have no idea why they can't fix this problem. It's been in there since launch.
I think it's super particular in a way that you don't expect it to be. Like...
No, because I'll go down and it'll give me up sometimes.
Okay, I've never had it be that bad. It's usually like one thing off, so I'm like, I guess I moved the stick slightly wrong as I brought it back to the center.
It seems better now. They maybe improved it but didn't fix it, because I haven't had that problem at all this week. Other than that, I finished the main quest of Final Fantasy XIV Heavensward. I still have to do the patch quests because it's an MMO, so the expansion comes out, it has a story, and then they do patches. Very unusual for MMOs, the patches directly lead into the next expansion and also deal with like dangling plot threads left over from the expansion.
Yeah,
So that's neat.
Yeah, they do this format of 0.1 to 0.5. 0.1 to 3 like finishes off any last threads for it, and then 4 and 5 just set up the next one. Endwalker's the only one that's not going to do the 1 to 3, where they're like, no, we're just finishing the whole story in 1. Which is interesting.
Ooh, that's scary.
Yeah.
It's so much better than the first game, and also a third of the length.
Yeah.
So sadly, you have to go through a million years of the mud to get to something that's actually really cool. I'm understanding why people get really into Final Fantasy 14, because the meme is always that you just clap at things from other Final Fantasy games.
Mm-hmm.
And there is that element to some things.
Yeah.
But it also, like, there's all this shit that's just from a Final Fantasy game that they make real. Like Bismarck. Who the fuck ever thought of Bismarck before Final Fantasy 14? It's like the weird holy whale summon that's in some games.
Which games is it in?
I think it's in 8. I think it's one of the ones in 8, one of the Guardian Forces. And I know it's an Esper in 6.
Oh.
I know that Bismarck's in 13, but it's like, oh, you and it gives all the summons in this, because they're all bosses and they all have like little arcs attached to them. It gives all of them like context within the world that they don't really have in other games. Because like in Final Fantasy 7, you just pick up a red thing and you have the summon.
Yeah.
In Final Fantasy 8, like at most you have to do a boss fight against them, but it's usually not like integrated into the story. It's just you walk into a room and a dude's there and you kick his ass and he's like, I'll join you, hero, and then you name him.
Yeah, they're
That's
not
how
all
it works in
like
Final Fantasy VIII.
when you start Final Fantasy 8 and you go into a fire cave. It's not even like to that degree.
Yeah, even like Final Fantasy 4 and Final Fantasy 9, which give way more emphasis on the summons, it doesn't like go into lore about them as much. Also, I did BioWare dirty by getting into Final Fantasy 14 the same year I played the Mass Effect game.
Oh no!
Because it's like, wow, my party members that have been with me are getting like arcs. One of them gets an anime fight scene where he fights a cool dude with an axe and shows up in his new outfit where he has a eye patch and a really hideous soul patch that looks like makes him look like he's Howie Mandel.
So you went through the Jack transformation?
Yeah, that is literally what happened.
Imagine Jack, but way more cringe.
Yeah, yes, he is so.
It's like if Jack fused with Daxter to become Jackster.
No!
This character, his name is Thancred. His role in the story seems to be that he gets to be cool, but only because you know you are cooler than him. So he gets to do cool things, so you, the player, have a context for how cool you are.
You live tweeting this was great because I feel like every other post was you saying, shut the fuck up, Thancred. You suck.
In the patch quests for A Realm Reborn, he's like almost like a Polnareff-esque character. Where like you go back to your base and like he's getting yelled at by 8 different women he was hitting on. Or like he's drunk and really pathetically pawing at his boss's mom. His boss, who he is also in love with.
Oh my god.
And this dude's like 19, so whatever. He's a fucking dipshit. Or maybe he's like in his early 20s at the youngest. I mean, at the oldest. But he's just a dipshit. But then he like the end of the base game is like all your party members all get split apart. Like you all have to run away because shit goes down. And you don't see any of them in Heaven's Word. Like you meet 2 of them really late, and only one of them actually like joins the team again. And then in the patch quest you meet Thancred again, and he's like he has a soul patch and an eye patch, like a really cringe outfit, and he uses twin daggers that are giant, gaudy-looking swords. And literally the first thing he does is like throw a sword beam and like do a bounce off a wall, and it's really anime.
Yeah, it really is his worst fit.
And there's like a part where you're fighting in a tournament for these guys you're helping out. and like a monster is invading the tournament. He's like, I'll take care of this, and does like Shoryuken on it, but it isn't cool at all. He's just really cringe. It's great. But also you're on his side because he's like, man, Warrior of Light, you sure won that entire tournament for those guys entirely on your own. It's like, okay, you get to be my buddy because you recognize. There's a lot of cool characters like that, like Estinian, the Azure Dragoon, who doesn't take a shower ever.
Yeah, he's very cool.
I don't know why people say he doesn't bathe, but that's the meme that he doesn't bathe. So I'm gonna assume he doesn't bathe.
He's too busy doing the Sigma grind set.
Yes, he is very Sigma male core.
Mm-hmm.
This game also made me feel worse about Final Fantasy 15 because one of the things that I was clinging to is like, okay, Final Fantasy 15, if nothing else, it has this, that it took this element of Final Fantasy lore that was never really given any context beyond just being a thing that existed, like a summon. And gave it context, and I'm like, oh yeah, Final Fantasy 14 did that 18 months earlier. I'm like, god damn it!
I'm sorry.
They really can't have anything.
I'm sorry, you really can't win with that.
It hurts so much. But yeah, I'm having a lot of fun with it. I'm learning that the Burger King crown that they give to mentors is actually just the mark of someone who's an asshole. Because apparently they're the only people who go out of their way to get the Burger King mentor crown.
Uh-huh.
Oh, is this something they actually give people that are real players?
Yes.
That will help you, quote.
Yeah, it's you have to, all you have to do it is you have to get to the end of current content, and you have to do 1,000 dungeon runs and get 1,500 commendations. But if you're playing a tank or a healer, you'll get the commendations like water.
Yeah. So whenever a dungeon finishes, you can commend like any of the other people you were with, so long as you didn't group with them. They're like on your friends list or whatever. So it's like, oh, this DPS like did an insanely good job, so they get a commendation for that. But it also has led to things like people going, give me the commendation, I'm getting close, and then you just ignore them.
Yeah, I 100% ignore them. Like, no, I would have if you hadn't asked. But now you set off the red flags in my head.
Yeah, but every single person that like applies and gets the mentor role, there's like an 80-20 split on 80%. They're just dumb dipshits.
Cool.
Yeah, the one I got tried to teach me wrong, and the two other people were like, "Don't listen to him. They're setting you up for failure." And I'm like, "Oh, okay." But yeah, really great. Looking forward to seeing future content in that. I'm looking forward to meeting the most cringe character of all, Xenos, who they added to Dissidia NT. And people get really mad at him apparently because his whole thing is like he's your rival character who is stronger than who is Aizen, who is like the character who can solo every other character in the series combined.
Yeah, he is their that's the definitive shonen meathead character they made for that game. So
yeah, he's like the shonen character who's like, I don't have a plan, I'm just strong.
Yes. They were very excited. It's the one time they don't ever have to write in that MMO.
And I'm really excited to see this character just transplanted into something that only sort of fits him. Other people seem to dislike him. I'm going to assume I come out of this thinking they're wrong.
Oh, because yeah, 100%. I can see that shit from space.
Just putting a Bleach character into this serious story seems hysterical.
Yeah, I like him because he's that bad. Where I'm like, okay, that's fine. You have other well-written villains in here. You can have this terrible fucking garbage.
I've also been replaying I've also been replaying Resident Evil 4 because I got the disease. So I'm like, okay. It's time.
Yeah, he started getting the shakes and headaches.
Oh no.
Yeah, it's like, I haven't shot the full power Red 9 in a couple months.
Yeah.
I have to go through and do that.
What a good.
I found like tons of treasure I've never found at all before.
Cool.
Because it's like, because almost every single painting in the castle has treasure behind it.
Huh.
Oh. Huh.
Just has a bunch of gold bars behind them.
Well, damn. That would have been nice to know.
I also used the rocket on the tyrant that you fight, that you freeze.
Yeah.
if you freeze them and then shoot them with the rocket launcher, it just looks like the game breaks.
Yeah, it does. Because I did that in my playthrough this year.
They like shed tons of ice and then just hard despawn.
That's what I want.
I know. It's funnier than using it on a real boss, though, because it still shows the boss death cutscene when you do that, but this guy doesn't have one of those.
Yes.
So he just, like, the game just breaks and he despawns. It's also really funny to skip every cutscene because they don't assume you're going to do that, and enemies won't have moved into position if you skip the cutscenes.
Oh, that's really good.
You haven't turned around yet, so I could just shoot you in the back of the head. I'm having this problem, though, it's a problem only for me because I'm a freak of nature. I'm a genetic freak. Where it's like, don't you hate it when you knock over 8 guys with a bullet and a roundhouse kick and then are cutting their legs with the knife to kill them with only using 1 bullet, and then some of them pop those head things? I'm like, no, most people probably don't have that problem because they don't carefully position the enemy so you can do that, you freak of nature. It's not normal to have 140 shotgun shells.
Yeah, you need to chill the fuck out.
It makes my brain feel good when I open the menu and see, I have look at all this ammo I'm not using. I'm so good at this game.
God.
Okay, Superman, you're just in the world of cardboard right now.
That's how it felt, because I decided to do something I've never done before, which is kill every single insect in that area where you have to melt the door like chocolate with sunlight.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm just going to kill all of them this time. I'm not going to run. I'm going to wait for them all to spawn. Like 60 of them spawn. And it's like, I have 140 shotgun shells in the striker. and I have a bottleneck. You're done.
Yeah, you just go in one of those caves.
Yeah, I just went in the cave and I'm like, I'm just going to keep shooting until nothing's moving anymore. And it took 60 shotgun shells, but we got the job done.
And you'll see 1 beam of light for an item drop. In reality, that's 30.
Yes, that is exactly what happened. It's like, wow, I get to sell 45 eyes. But yes, that is all I played.
Oh, okay. Well, that means we're going to move on to the Ted Lasso quote of the week. In the middle of a team branding meeting, he said, "I always feel so bad for the cows, but you got to do it. Otherwise, they get lost." That was a branding joke. If we were in Kansas right now, I'd be just sitting here waiting for you to finish laughing. Oh, and also the Podlords.
Oh, fuck, the Podlords.
Podlords, if you drop, I understand.
They're like, I need to save money to go sign up for Apple TV Plus.
To watch Mythic Quest.
Oh, no.
They're like, we don't want to be associated with Dan's mistakes.
Yes, that's right. The Podlords. Podlords such as E. Lee Broyles, Corey Brown, Live Action Muito Real, Red Blaze 27, Jesus H. Juicifrost, Suzu Shiro, Emperor Zero, Shibuya Gato. AC players to Raymond once the Happy Home Paradise DLC comes out and they can make rooms for him. Rado. 101 Shades of Wonderful Remastered. No Gary bit, but I am down 50 pounds since I started not eating trash all the time in June, so that's cool.
Nice.
That is nice.
Damn,
Good
that's
job.
really fucking cool.
Yeah.
WTF Spider-Man. Mr. I Like Spam, in case you forgot. I never forget.
Never.
You're playing Shin Megami Tensei 5, and then this guy shows up and smacks your demon's ass. What do you do?
Die, probably.
Yeah, frankly, I die.
DFW 3K. Muckbun. Sacrifice your ability to read for the power to never miss when saying something that will kill your co-hosts. Kristen. This is what the Baron fears every night. This is peak performance. This is a metalhead.
Thank God.
Thank you. I really wanted that
I'm gonna
one.
doink Praxis.
Oh, no, please don't shoot him, Bob. His Dayquil will fall out.
Senti Kunai. Travis Touchdown versus new Raido Kuzunoha Switch Edition. Count von Admar's been pretty burnt out. It sucks. Take care of yourself, everyone.
I'm at my limit.
Thank you, Hara. Kyle Bjork. Zilter. Are you pogging what I'm champing? Iron Aggro. Blig de blue. Slig de boo. Gentlemen, behold the Ragrobot! Dr. Rabot, hold on! This thing!
God.
Where I come from, we just call that the Beaster Bunny. Monster Hunter, rising and riding. Bringing back Ton Baby for Halloween.
Oh.
If it weren't Halloween, I wouldn't allow it.
Yeah, frankly, yeah.
I don't think anyone wants to look at this.
Mm-hmm.
When you don't notice the post-mission teleporter that is hidden and only sometimes there.
Yeah.
That's a really good face.
Yeah, can't believe you.
Incredibad. There is no Two-Face bit this week. We didn't make one up.
Not this time.
Cooper Tank. So Bob, it's an emote and Banny ball acquired and a Banny helmet because Dan asked nicely for one.
God.
It's really good. I'm just trying to imagine Banny yelling in that helmet and it's just flopping up and down like a Pez dispenser.
Yeah, I don't know if the nose should be in the visor like that. I feel like that's a liability.
That's fucking great. The dead speak. The world has heard a strange broadcast, a threat of revenge in the sinister voice of the late Baroness Thatcher.
Don't scare me like this.
Zasterder. I give you two options, kid. You wait for content or become my pod slayer.
God. Yep. What's great about that guy? That guy's Irish.
Oh, that's good. Mm-hmm. Mitzi. Indigo Sykes. BN12. Scary Story. Getting canceled for pronouncing Jiangxi wrong. I thought it said incorrectly. No, just wrong. Evil Lucario. Clutchin's future-proof Podlord name slot.
Yeah. Uh-oh. Oh, no.
How the fuck did I miss this one?
Oh, shit.
1 second. We need this image. It was a fucking certified hit.
Yeah.
A raccoon that is slowly getting his life together.
Oh, finally.
It doesn't look like it, you know.
That looks like he's got an interview.
Yes, he might get this job.
No pants, though.
My grandmother once said, one that drowns in oneself will eventually fall to darkness. Lamu. Aspiring Bamani ambassador Shinji 16 is fucking furious at the Dead by Daylight devs' recent endorsement of NFTs. I love last-minute news spoilers. They're the best. Maria Kondenzovna Eve. And Virvarm, thank you very much to our podlords.
Thank you, Podlords.
Thank you, Podlord.
Thank you, podlords.
Thank you, Podlords. And if you'd like to become a Podlord, you can go to our Patreon at patreon.com/gbpodcast. For as little as $5 a month, you get access to many benefits, such as early access to Chugging Bleach and Mondo Cool, our 2 anime review podcasts, extended armchair dev pitches and gamer premonitions, because sometimes that show is structured cruelly. And Patreon exclusive shows, 1 a month, where you get to vote on what good or bad thing we watch and talk about. That's patreon.com/gbpodcast. And if you support us now, you might get a show where we watch all of Reboot, including the horrible live action reboot thing, The Guardian's Code. It's made by Canadians. Oh no.
Yeah.
Yes, the reboot, rewatch, recast with guest host Dr. Agro, watching the whole series 4 episodes at a time.
That's patreon.com/gbpodcast. And if you don't have any money, just telling your friends about us really helps.
Patreon.com/gbpodcast.
Patreon.com/gbpodcast.
Yo, we got news.
We sure do.
This isn't news. That's why no one wrote a fucking news bullet for it, but they put out that fucking Uncharted trailer.
God, they did.
They sure did.
They announced that casting, and I was like, man, that's bad. Maybe the quality of the, and then I watched it, and I'm like, nope.
I love that they just have some old song with a new remix. It's bad, just to fully cement it being a really bad modern movie trailer.
Yes, that was something. It didn't even fit what was going on.
No,
That was the saddest part. You couldn't even vaguely connect a dot.
Yo, we just got breaking news.
Oh yeah,
Grasshopper Manufacturer is joining NetEase Games.
interesting.
Wario 64 just put out the press release 2 minutes ago.
whoa.
Okay, that actually leads into my story where Suda confidently was saying that in the next 10 years they're going to make 3 new IPs. He was talking about they already started pre-production on their first game of these 3 new IPs. That explains where the funding for that came from.
Right.
He did say, however, these IPs aren't going to be AAA. They're going to be more like AA, so don't expect a AAA game. He also talked about, there are some IPs that they don't have access to that would be really interesting to maybe follow up on or something like that, listing specifically. Yeah, they don't have the rights to a number of different series that he's worked on, like Killer's Dead, Shadows of the Dam, Flower, Sun, and Rain, Silver Case series, et cetera, et cetera. Or no, those are all the ones they hold the rights to. Okay, yes. I was really confused reading this. No More Heroes and Killer 7 they don't own the rights to, apparently. But
that makes sense.
He's sitting here. He said the most insane thing. He's like, well, we don't have any current plans to work on anything like that. If I were to go back and revisit some of our past titles, it would most likely be one of those. If they were to do something, he says verbatim, if I were to do something with one of our past titles, I don't know if it would be an actual sequel or something more akin to a remake or remaster, but one thing I'd be interested in revisiting is Killer's Dead. And then this next quote is the one that is the funniest shit in the world. He goes, you know how first another director did Suicide Squad and then James Gunn did the reboot The Suicide Squad? I might do something like that, like take Killer's Dead and remake it into The Killer is Dead or something. Please.
Oh my God.
Killer is Dead is like so insanely budget, but I still really like it. So I would be really down for him just being like, let's just remake it. And this time, the publisher didn't force me to put in a weird mini game where you look at women's underwear to get power up.
Yeah, that would be great. That would be fantastic.
Yeah,
and
I would
also
love
feels
that.
a little bit more budget. I mean, a little bit less budget in terms of combat mechanics.
It's okay. You can make a low budget game now that's better than any 7-gen game.
That's true.
Thank you, March of Technology. You make things a little easier.
I appreciate that.
What else do we got in news? The collection of Saga, which is Final Fantasy Legends 1 through 3, or those Saga games as they were known in Japan, is coming to Steam. So it's going to be launching for the first time on a non-Switch platform. I'm glad to see this get out there to more people.
Because I think?
Yes.
It's out. It was out today.
Yes.
We're recording this.
I'm really glad that this got out there to more people because I really like those games and would like them to be more accessible. So hopefully it comes to other platforms after that too.
God.
Okay, let me count the tweets so I don't misrepresent. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Analogue, the manufacturer of retro FPGA consoles, made a 16-tweet chain announcing Analogue OS.
Yo, at some point, maybe make a video.
They made various GIFs.
Yeah, no, that's not enough. You need someone to talk
That's
through
not
this.
video.
No, it's not a video. And announcing all this via Twitter is rough, and they should have made a video. But basically what they're showing off is the Analog Pocket's going to be the first system shipping with this Analogue OS thing, where they're going to let people come in and make other FPGA cores. And aside from that, they didn't announce a whole lot other than, hey, look, save states. Hey, look, we can take pictures with the console. And it's like, you don't have a button to take pictures though. So that, what am I supposed to hold the home button and then select to take a picture like it's an Xbox?
Yeah, it's like you using your phone. You hold select and hit like R.
There's no way they won't do that. It would be nice. Yeah, that's it. They just re-announced all the features we've known for years now about the Analog Pocket, but wrapped it up in this Analog OS thing. Talking about how they will have unique features for the systems, the different consoles that the Analog OS will eventually support, and it's going to be so much, and it's going to be the hugest thing. And it sounds like Analog's done fucking around selling us one console at a time. I think they realize from here on out they're going to need to be stronger than just that, because the Mister's right over there. And even people who are interested in Analog stuff really didn't like how they did, like, here's our NES one, here's our Genesis one, here's our Super NES one, and they even announced a TurboGrafx one. And it's like, you can be running multiple consoles on these. What are you doing? So yeah, it's good that they're doing that. But yeah, once again, the Analog Pocket, it's their first portable. I would not line up to buy that even for free, to be perfectly honest. It's gonna have issues. But it was nice of them to make this cryptid 16 tweet long chain.
Did they put a date on it even?
No, because they're Analog.
God, that's so sad. Because they said, didn't they announce last week more than a date or something?
It's more than just a date. Talking about the date of this announcement.
What a fuck you.
Wow.
I see people out there being like, well, COVID hit everyone hard. And I'm just like, no. You do not get to take a habitual delayer and manufacturing problem-filled company like Analog and pretend that COVID writes it off once that becomes a thing. They've been this bad for years, and it only got slightly worse now. This is their first fucking portable. They announced it with no date in mind, and then they delayed it again. This is not COVID. This is them. This is who they are. They just did a 16 tweet chain about the OS. How can you even? Oh, and also they're still doing cutesy shit. Like, I'm gonna screen cap this and put it in there. Here's how they announced the screenshot button or functionality. They show that it says the text, memories. All these memories could be lost in time like tears in the rain. And you get to access save states or screenshots.
So, am I wrong in like feeling really negative about this? Like you're splitting the community working on these FPGA things for different things, one of which seems more proprietary?
Yes, it is definitely going to distract some people, but at the same time, I'm not gonna act like that's a universal bad. I understand disliking it, but like we're not gonna get a portable console that is a Mister that is a reasonable size, right? So only something custom from a company like Analog could ever be that. Like if we get something like that, it's down the road. It's not exactly literally a Mister that's portable, right? If we get something that's portable and functions as a Mister does. Because once you change the spec on the Mister, you have to kind of retool everything, is my understanding, as different FPGA programmers have told me. So I totally get it. I absolutely understand. I'm not the hugest fan of this thing, but I think the biggest thing to come out of this is they're clearly pretending that they're communicating with non-concrete phrasing that they're going to make different consoles FPGAs like systems cores for this Pocket, and then other people could just do other stuff too, or their own cores. Like there's no reason just because Analog has a Game Gear core that someone else can't make a better one, is the idea. And stuff like that. But of course, they didn't announce a list of consoles that will be able to play like in concrete, right?
Yeah, they don't want to announce anything concrete about anything.
Yeah, hell no, they don't. They still don't have a date. So this was very negatively received. I saw one person who's in the retro community just replying to the whole tweet chain going, no one knows what this is. And I think that's accurate. Because yeah, no one knows. It's 16 tweets about hyper-specific things, and it's not well communicated what this means for the direction of the company or anything else. It sucks. I'm going to move on.
I'm just thinking how I follow Analog. I didn't even see these.
I know, right? They did it early in the morning. No, they did it at 10 a.m. That's not as early as I thought it would be. Right. They're always just late enough where I'm still not up, but early enough where I'm not up again. They always time all of their things going up for sale and everything else like that. We're going to move on. I have one more thing, but it's also very tech. So we're going to move to Bob to, sparse it out a bit.
Sure. Want me to start with the top one?
Hell yeah.
Okay. We got a date for the Blood Rain revamped They're doing Blood Rain 1 and 2.
Mm-hmm.
They're putting on PS4, Xbox One, Switch, November 18th.
Ooh.
It's going to have resolutions up to 4K on the consoles to support it, so like the PS4 Pro.
This is exciting.
They upscaled the old cinematics, so those have all been re-upscaled.
Impressive.
Cool.
Like I think they said machine learning or something like that.
Yeah, that would be smart. That's the way you should do it, if you're doing it, honestly.
They redid a bunch of the engine stuff, so the lighting's completely redone.
Probably wrong.
Yeah, but it's a PS2 game, so it'll feel a little bit less like you ruined a vision.
Yeah, no, Blood Rain looks terrible.
Yeah, I know. That's why I'm losing it over this announcement. Like, yeah, I needed that in 4K.
They improved all of the effects, and they said that there are various other engine improvements. I'm excited for how weird these games look, because these are like low-budget PS2 games.
Bob, are they making a new Blood Rain game?
Almost certainly.
It feels like it, yeah.
I'm scared.
Get Laura
Now-
Bailey back in there.
Oh, yeah, hell yeah.
Now, whether or not I buy these revamped editions depends entirely on whether or not they were brave enough to leave the big boob cheat in.
I feel like they have to.
Yeah, I feel like they
It's
they
the
really
point
should.
of the franchise, but you never know.
You never know. That's true.
We've had many discussions about publishers not understanding the strengths of their own IPs.
It's like, look at the cover. What do you think this game is selling on?
Blood
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
But
You got it.
Rain.
Well, shit, Bob. If we could get the PSP Jack and Daxter games done before it, maybe we should make this our Halloween Friday stream.
That'd be really fun. No, this is
thought
November
you were
18th.
doing
Next
Blood
month.
Rain
Damn it.
month.
Yeah, it's
Man,
next
they
month.
just barely missed it.
Yeah, I know. It's weird.
I bet they're kicking themselves.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
I literally just ignored the date because I assumed it was by the end of this month
You would-
because, you know,
You
duh.
would think.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
But
That's unfortunate. Well, I guess we'll have to play it sometime in November, then.
Right? I'm excited. I think that these games were really bad when I played them back in the day, but I played through them unlike Jack 2.
So what you're saying is Blood Rain is just that little bit better than Jack 2.
Probably.
Does it have auto aim, or do you aim with right analog?
I'm pretty sure you aim with right analog stick.
Oh, man, this is going to be a complicated stream as I suss out my feelings on Blood Rain and Jack 2.
Yeah, I don't know. I have to touch it again. This game might be just unbelievably bad.
Oh, that game's stanky.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I remember that.
Game's stanky.
Yeah, just fucking that in 4K is killing me.
Yes. I wish there was a PS5 version so we get like 120 frames per second too. Like look unreal.
None of it animates at that.
No, of course not.
You're just seeing people pop around in 30 frames per
It
second.
just speeds everything up so it's all broken.
Ooh, good for the speedrunning community.
Yes.
Bob, I hear you have news about Cyberpunk and The Witcher.
Yes, The Witcher.
Oh my god.
The Witcher 3 and the Cyberpunk 2077 next gen versions, that PS5 Series X, both got delayed until next year. I know.
That makes sense.
Incredible.
That's unfortunate. I bought Cyberpunk on a sale, and I've been waiting for the next gen version to give that game a chance.
Yeah.
That sucks.
Cyberpunk got delayed to Q1 and Witcher 3 got delayed to Q2. It would make sense for the last one to be the one that people will probably be happier with.
Yeah, because people like The Witcher.
Yeah.
I don't know that anyone outside of the hype cycle really enjoys Cyberpunk.
Right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I would really, really like them to once again learn the greatness that is delaying something and letting it cook at all.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like there's no way that this next gen version can make it, what people want it to be, but maybe it'll at least be playable.
Yeah, I feel like there's no way this game's a 10. There's no way I plop down with Cyberpunk, the next gen version, and go, wow, this is a 10.
Oh,
Right.
oh yeah. Everyone who talks about it goes, yeah, I really think this is solid, but you can't do anything like a No Man's Sky or something like that to it because you have to remake this game. It's fundamentally broken in so many different ways
Cool.
from a design standpoint.
How exciting.
Well, maybe they can do that. They've sold like fucking 40 million copies of it already. Surely that gives you the revenue to just remake the game.
Yeah, it certainly fucking does that.
My next piece of news, they announced, let me get this, Mobile Suit Gundam Battle Operation Code Fairy. It's going to release in volumes.
Uh-huh.
The first volume comes out November 5th, and then they'll release every 2 weeks after that. You can buy it all the bundle for $50, or you can buy them individually for $20. This is a weird single player mode made out of Battle Operation 2, which is I believe Japanese exclusive online game.
Yeah, it's that Japanese exclusive free to play.
Yeah, it's like it's free to play. I've played it. It plays kind of like a Battlefield in the Mobile Suit Gundam universe.
Yeah.
You get out of your Mac, you can pick up other Macs.
That's the feel I got watching it in TGS streams when they're like Gundam Battle Operation 2.
Yeah, it's really strange. There's a bunch of crossovers between this and that game. This game is coming to the US for sure. This is the US release date. They sent me an email about this from Bandai Namco to my email.
It's because you bought that mouse pad, isn't it?
I don't think so. Yeah, it's really weird. They got like the artist from Darling in the Franxx to design these cute anime girls to be Xeon girls invading North America.
Oh.
Yeah, it's strange.
Cool.
Real quick.
Yeah.
Gundam Unicorn was a series, right?
Yes.
Was that all girls?
No.
But Fairy
No.
is.
Yeah, Fairy is.
Okay, sure, whatever.
Yeah.
Okay.
Unicorn is just a Gundam that's like top piece
Yeah,
turns into a horn.
This is called Code Fairy because the unit that you're part of is like Wild Fairy or something like that. And it's all
Wild
girl.
Stallions!
Yes. Yes, he plays the Wild Stallions.
Dude.
They don't seem to be dubbing it at all because
damn.
Bandai Namco doesn't like to spend money.
It's Bandai Namco.
It's
Not. We
what?
made Jump Force to appeal to the Western audience. We're not even attempting to dub it. We're insane.
yeah. I'll at least try a volume of this. I might go for the whole thing, but because it didn't play that badly on the online Battle Operation 2. It was a Japanese game with servers designed for Japan. So it was unplayable
Yeah.
from a netcode standpoint. But as far as
Right.
the game felt, other than the netcode, it seemed like it might be okay. So I'm kind of curious to try this.
This looks like debatably solid, and I'm like, sure. Like maybe they'll make like a cool single player Gundam game if this does all right, and then not dub it because they're insane.
They're like, we have to dub characters from more than one show. Not happening.
Nope.
In this one, they wouldn't even have to.
I don't think.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is all new characters. They could literally just, and I don't even think there's that many. They could be like, hey, Nippon Ichi Software of America, can we borrow like your Rolodex and get 8 people?
Yeah, it's ludicrous that they aren't even trying.
Yeah, it's fucked up.
In my last news here, I thought this was insane.
What?
But Bethesda released a tiny, like, minute and a half lore trailer about Starfield using concept art.
Oh.
I have no idea why they did this. Like, I'd rather not hear anything than see concept art and you telling me that the game or when the game is set.
I don't want to see shit of Starfield until it's a gameplay video.
Yeah, I didn't know about this and will not look at it, so it doesn't exist. This seems like something to do at an EA press conference for BioWare.
Yeah, there's nothing going on this week. I don't know why they felt it necessary to release this. And that's it for me.
Okay. Hey, KZ, shoot.
Okay. This came in today. It looks like Square Enix is the first publisher to start abandoning Denuvo.
Hooray.
Good.
Yeah, because people went, oh, they stripped it out of Near Replicant's remaster, and that still wasn't cracked yet. Like, all the sites went, and it still has been cracked. And then Life is Strange, bunch of the Tomb Raider games, and various other things. It's like they're just dropping it.
Thank God.
Like, they've been slowly ripping it out of games, so it looks like they're just done.
They probably realized this costs money. Debatably, inconveniences are paying customers, and there is literally no metric whatsoever for how effective it is because there's no way to actually get that data. It's like buying a rock that keeps away ghosts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's just pull it out.
I this is really hopeful.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like the real test will be the next game that needs to launch without it.
Yeah.
Like that'll be when we know, okay, they're done.
Yeah,
I feel like if you put in the work to strip it out of all of these games, then that says a contract ended.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
my read. It's like the contract ended 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, they're like,
That's probably it. Denuvo probably, because at first nobody had cracked it at first. Like the very first Denuvo games that I can think of were Lords of the Fallen 1 and Dragon Age Inquisition. And those were not cracked for months, maybe longer. So I could easily see Denuvo selling a bunch of like 5-year contracts off of that over the next year or two. And then those are running out and it's like, everybody fucking hates you and your shit hardly works and we have no way to prove it even does anything for us when it does work. Fuck you.
Yeah, it feels like they've wanted to rip this shit up for 16 months and they can finally do that.
That's cool.
DC Fandom happens, so we got Suicide Squad and Gotham Knights story trailers for both of those games.
Yeah, it was lame that we still don't see gameplay of Suicide Squad. That's
show gameplay to please show gameplay of Suicide Squad. They showed more gameplay of Gotham Knights last month, and I'm like, oh, it's still like an RPG thing that looks not great.
I didn't know they showed more gameplay of Gotham Knights last month.
Yeah, I didn't see that either.
Yeah, I didn't see that.
Yeah, I didn't know either. I searched, like, did they show gameplay at DC Fandom? And I got this month-old thing, like, here it is.
Man, that story trailer for Suicide Squad seemed neat. I would really like to see gameplay.
Yeah, that's why right now I'll tell you what the gameplay is.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, Bob's doing. Oh, gamer premonition.
Suicide Squad's a third-person shooter, cover-based shooter.
Okay.
Each character has a special ability. That's it.
So wait,
they're locked guns for each character too.
You telling me this is third-person shooter Destiny? I'm just kidding.
No, not at all.
That would be fucking insane.
It'd be kind of funny.
But we tried to make Gears, but Destiny.
They might do that angle of, well, it's more like Avengers because you don't get to pick up guns in the world. You'd get to have you found the higher level of the gun for this character.
Oh my god.
Yeah. Imagine Destiny, but everyone's locked to a certain gun type.
Oh god. Only Harley Quinn can use Uzis.
Yes. She's the expert.
Yeah, obviously.
Yeah, they're called Quirkies.
Actually, we've only seen her use a pistol and a baseball bat, so I think she's locked to those. And then she has a grappling hook gun as her her special ability.
I get it. Her baseball bat's her heavy weapon.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I can't wait to see gameplay to find out whether or not Bob has foretold death upon millions.
Yeah, I still get good over. I tweeted that trailer out and saying like, "Oh man, I wish we saw gameplay." And someone responded to me immediately, being like, "Oh my god, this looks like if Marvel Avengers had money." And I'm like, "What are you talking about?"
Marvel Avengers had a lot of money. No, arguably too much money.
Apparently, this giant game using a Marvel IP had no money. I have no idea. Thank you, Bob. Thank you, Twitter.
Like, despite Avengers being rough, like 5 or 6 months after they announced that game, they did a trailer where they're like, here's the main character, here's zones they're traveling in, here's the war room where you do all the missions that are Destiny like. This one is just we showed you in-engine cutscenes, which are nice, but it's like, how are you getting the gameplay out of this at all?
Yeah, it's been a full year.
You watch those. How do you get that it's even like Avengers?
Yeah, I have no idea.
Because it's a superhero thing that's also vaguely service-esque, according to what they said. I guess that's it. You just extrapolate like a crazy person.
I see superheroes and I see some A's on the screen.
Oh, okay. Elden Ring's network test was announced to be coming next month, between the 12th and 15th. They also delayed the game a month to February to ensure that it launches within a week of the Saints Row reboot and the New Horizon.
It launches on the same day as the Saints Row reboot, and frankly, I think that's much worse for the Saints Row reboot than it is for Elden Ring.
Of course.
Oh, yes.
Of course.
Yes.
Oh, jeez.
But they're doing the usual network test, so they'll probably let you do, like, probably this is the zone they were talking about in previews, where some of the open world and then one of their dungeons that's like a traditional area with a boss.
So is this similar to what happened with Horizon 1 and Zelda Breath of the Wild? Is this just like
yes, because this is from Software's Breath of the Wild.
Jesus Christ.
But at least both of those games still did really well. I feel like one of these 3 games, which might be named Saints Row because the publisher is also going to be putting it on Game Pass with 100% certainty because they put all their games on Game Pass, is might just fall through the earth and die.
Bob, I didn't think about that connection. I'm going to lose my mind. This can't happen again. The fury for Elden Ring feels so much stronger because people talk about Elden Ring every day. I feel like for the year it didn't show up anywhere. That YouTube account that's like Elden Ring news, and it's just a 12-second video that says nothing.
Maybe, but Sony games have a tendency to like fucking explode and you blink and they've sold 15 million
I mean,
copies.
yes, as Horizon will quietly sell like 10 million, even with the PS5 stock as it is now. It's not a problem.
Don't worry, it has a PS4 version.
I deleted that from my brain. But I'll see it when it fucking shows up, and I'm like, oh.
So since we brought up Horizon Forbidden West, do you think it was just supposed to be out like right now, and that's why they did that collab with Genshin that happened right now?
Yeah, I think there's a good chance.
Yeah.
And that's why you can't even look at Aloy's like more advanced abilities or her voice actor, because it's like, wait until the game's actually coming out.
God, I hope it's not that long.
They gave MiHoYo assets for late game Forbidden West moves. Yeah, that would be pretty funny. I applied for this network test. I hope I get in because I've been wanting to check that out.
Cool.
Oh yeah, so this came from Video Games Chronicle, who's gotten a decent amount of stuff right. After 10 years, Ubisoft has greenlit a real Splinter Cell game. After making people upset every year with, we put Sam Fisher in a thing you're not going to buy or play.
We made this mobile game where Sam Fisher has to dismantle Black Lives Matter. And like, that's what you wanted, right? And it's like, no.
I'm like, did Satan make you make this deal?
No, we're just French.
Oh. But yeah, that's good. I played the only Splinter Cell game I played is the one they made before they died, Blacklist, and I enjoyed this. I hope they make more, and then they did. And that's kind of where they've been sitting. Also, that's the one where they didn't have the original voice actor because he was secretly dealing with cancer, and he beat that, so he should be able to come back and perform in a new game.
Cool.
Yeah, hopefully that happens. Everything with Ubisoft, they have to take with this huge grain of salt.
Yeah, because that's
if they greenlit it, we won't be seeing it for like 2 years minimum anyway.
Or
So
sometimes we'll see it and then it'll never happen.
What are you
they'll
talking
show
about?
like a splash screen of it, and then it becomes one of those things.
Or a really elaborate trailer.
we got the studio behind fucking Skull and Bones. They need another win over there, so it's just locked there forever.
Now we got the studio that was working on that game from the Beyond Good and Evil creator, that Wild game or whatever.
Yeah.
Oh, the Sony game.
Yes, we got that studio, and they're gonna get it done.
No, KZ, it can't be the Skull and Bone studio because they're legally required to make a new IP.
The Splinter Cell.
Imagine if we have to live through and report on a court case where Ubisoft has to try and explain that this counts as a new IP because we put the word "the" in the title.
Bold.
I want that. I want that a lot.
I want that too, actually.
Yeah,
Do it.
That's kind of fucking hilarious.
My last piece of news, God of War 2018 is getting ported to PC through Steam, and Epic Game Store comes out January 14th. I knew this happened, and it happened, but I was still shocked when Epic Games gave me a pop-up to buy God of War on my computer.
Yeah, to be fair, that's 3 months out, so it seems scary to just be like, hey, pre-order. What?
And I'm like, your cart doesn't work. Leave me alone.
They're like, whatever. People were prepared enough. We announced it in our fiscal review. We just
your cart doesn't work, and Tim Sweeney said NFTs can come on our store after 2 weeks ago saying they couldn't come on our store. Something changed.
Jesus fucking Christ. Okay, that's it for KZ's news. I'll talk about my quick tech shit before
you hit a bomb.
talk or hand it over to Feel. So Apple did their thing where they're like, hey, we have an event. We're going to try to sell you AirPod Pros we ripped the buds off of, and we're calling them AirPod 3, Generation 3. It's very funny because watching this video, I'm like, they literally just took the soft part off and called an AirPod Pro an AirPod 3rd generation. Then I watch tech channels that say the same thing, and I'm like, okay, good, we all noticed. They also announced some fucking bizarre level of subscription to Apple Music that I'm not even going to get into. They announced a HomePod. Who gives a shit? I don't need Apple listening in on a house speaker that's mid at best. But the interesting thing they announced is they shipped some real MacBook Pros that are like professional grade. For people who kept track of this before, basically what happened before is They took the M1 chip that they designed for the Mac Mini and the MacBook Air, and then they just put it in a slightly larger screen MacBook, and they were like, that's the Pro. And everyone's like, what the fuck are you doing? What are you talking about? That's the Pro. That's the same performance. When you get a Pro version of this laptop, you want to have like Pro performance. So they whipped out their giant dick. The MacBook Pros they just announced have absolutely beastly specs. Single threaded, it's kicking the shit out of my PC with the latest Ryzen. The top line, multi-thread slightly below that, which is insane because it's a fucking laptop. The GPU is supposed to have performance close to a PS5 in theoretical teraflops. It's like 0.6 off or 0.2 off, which is absolutely insane to pack into a laptop. And the screen on the fucker is HDR fucking screen. So it's got like mini LEDs behind it. Goes up to 1600 nits peak, 1000 average. And it looks really fucking good. Also, it's 120 hertz and variable refresh rate. So this is a sleek fucking laptop. It is pricey like, you know, any powerful fucking laptop is, but this absolutely kicks the shit out of basically everything on the market and would be great for colorists on the go and anyone who does video work in the Apple ecosystem. Me personally, I use Vegas. So outside of color grading, I couldn't see you using this video for video production. But it's hitting a point now where people more and more are like, hey, Apple, could you like get games? Because the Apple Arcade thing's making progress, but now it's like, yeah, we're going to need like, that's a different kind of scale of game. I'm not sure Fantasia needs a PS5 GPU.
It sure does.
Yeah, absolutely. I need to see Fantasia in 8K.
Yes.
I mean, that would be funny as shit, to be fair. That would be absolutely funny. Hopefully Fantasia gets ported to anything else. It makes me sad that basically no one but people who own MacBooks and iPhones and want a game on their iPhone can play this fucking thing. Because that game's cool as hell. Anyways, I wanted to cover that real quick because it's really exciting. This is the most exciting for really nerdy tech people anything Apple has done remotely recently has been. Because damn, they really moved that needle way the fuck further. This is starting to get scary though, because once again, my desktop PC with its giant fucking processor, this giant heatsink on it to deal with it, is in some ways being outperformed by their laptop CPU. Once they start making real performance-oriented desktops, shit's gonna get weird. Where it's like, yeah, this desktop from Apple's like literally twice as powerful as the PC. And unlike PC component parts, you can order it. Because that's a layer people don't consider with this shit. I can't get a GPU in the 3000 series right now, but I can order a MacBook Pro. Also has hardware encoders, which is really cool for video production people like me. But anyway, I'm going to move on. Hey, Phil, give us your news.
Okay, first I have to do a product review I meant to do in the gaming segment, but forgot. I have to review the Duncan Hines Mega Cookie.
Duncan Hines Mega Cookie?
Is this like a thing you buy in a store, or is it a restaurant of some sort?
Is it an ingredient thing?
It is a thing you buy in the store.
Okay.
And you cook it?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
It's a bag of mix. You add water and butter, and you put it in. You put the dough in a tray they give you, and it makes a giant cookie.
Okay, real quick. This is I need to be clear for our audience to look it up. The Duncan Hines chocolate chunk mega cookie?
I ate all three varieties, actually. I ate the chocolate chunk, I ate the double chocolate chunk, and I ate the oatmeal chocolate chip.
Thank you.
Jesus.
Why did I do this? Because the store was liquidating them and they were 75 cents each.
Okay, that explains a lot. Because here's what I'm staring at right now. I'm looking at the Duncan Hines website where on their own website, it gets a 2.3 out of 5.
Oh no!
It was, I don't think it deserves a 2.3. It's fine.
Okay.
Like if you don't want to buy like a tub of pre-prepared cookie dough and make 32 cookies, if you want like the equivalent of 8 or 9 or 10, these seem, you can do a lot worse than these. I didn't have to think. Everybody seemed to agree. The oatmeal one was pretty bad though.
Yeah, that seems like that would be real terrible.
It also had the oatmeal type like spices. And sugar added to it because they add like more sugar to an oatmeal cookie because it's made of oatmeal. So that part isn't great. And the double chocolate chunk one's just a fucking brownie.
Oh.
So if you want something that's like an actual cookie, you have to buy the chocolate chunk one, but it's fine.
And you got to race to your store because it's going on clearance.
I also on Dr. Agro's endorsement had a spam and pimento cheese sandwich.
Yeah, that sure was Dr. Agro's recommendation.
It was really sweet.
Yeah.
I didn't think pimento cheese was that sweet.
Oh yeah, it's fucking really goddamn sweet. Every time I'm like, man, I love pimento cheese. Every time I stop eating, I'm like, oh god, it's so fucking sweet. And you mix that with spam.
Well, I thought, maybe that would work. Spam is really salty.
But it's also got a dull sweetness to it, so you not just got the sandwich that's just too fucking sweet.
It wasn't terrible, but yeah, I'm never gonna eat that shit again. Maybe if I grill it, it'll help.
What I gotta know, was the spam like diced and then mixed with the cheese, or is it like a slice?
No,
of spam?
I just use slices. Agro's endorsement did not include directions. Well, I'll just eat it like a sandwich. I'll put slices of spam and then pimento cheese.
Okay, I'm gonna. Here's another question: did this sandwich show up in the movie UHF, a movie that Agro has made more than one food reference to gut check if people watch that movie?
Is that the one with the Twinkie dog?
Yeah.
I don't know. I've never seen UHF.
I saw it, but
I just know that
part of me is like, all the food stuff just started becoming the background radiation of that movie, so this could have been in it, and I would have forgotten.
But now we have to talk about actual news. Xbox is having another event where they don't announce anything on November 15th.
The fact they led with saying they wouldn't announce anything just frustrated me, because they just got done at TGS where they didn't announce anything. And they just did one other thing. People were saying that they also didn't announce anything. So what is with this chain of we're going to be at events and do nothing?
I don't understand where they keep having these events where they don't announce anything. Just don't do an event.
What? So wait, is this another event they're attending, or is this something they're doing on their own?
This is their event.
Is something they're doing.
Yeah, it's the Xbox 20th anniversary thing where they're doing fan-related stuff.
No game announced.
Yeah, this one I don't have a problem with because they're not going to a trade show and saying we'll be there to announce anything. It's like, oh, it's the 20th anniversary thing. Who cares?
It's just
look, they don't need any more things where they come out to say nothing.
If they hadn't done it 5 other times this year, it wouldn't raise my ire so much. But just come on, guys. I get it. I get that things are going to be rough until like the end of next year in terms of announcing and showing things. But damn, you don't have to show up to everything. More Xbox news. Phil Spencer lets you know he could hurt you at any time. By which I mean Phil Spencer's like, we're not done buying studios. We're always looking for a studio to buy. I'm outside your house right now. I have a baseball bat. I look forward to them buying Crystal Dynamics from Square Enix.
Yeah, I that they're so open about this is so weird. But I guess they know that there's those weird fanboys like, yeah, they bought something, we got to win.
Yeah, they have that image of we hate console fanboys, but we're doing the most. We're going to talk about the most toxic thing that they like now.
Yeah, it's like we're the consumer, consumer positive. Not we don't believe in console war bullshit company. Please root for us to buy Sega.
Ugh.
It's just like, and if you're listening to this and wondering why don't they get mad at Sony buying Insomniac or Nintendo potentially buying Mercury Steam? Because those studios worked exclusively with those publishers for like a decade first and were built up, and also you aren't making the world a worse place by doing that.
When Sony buys 20 studios in 12 months, then I'll get mad.
If Sony buys Square Enix, I will be there getting pissed with everyone.
Yeah, it's absurd. Like you can't just and also just look at what Microsoft does. They run these companies into the ground. They don't know what to do with them.
Their track record with their developers hasn't been great. Maybe they'll turn it around, but
that's pretend. Also the thing. Like, there wasn't a turning it around phase first. They bought like 40 companies overnight. So now you're like waiting
to see how it works.
They spun the revolver chamber and are like putting it to their head. And now you're like, what's going to happen?
Yeah, absolutely. This is incomparable to anything else going on in the industry. This is even weird compared to the Tencent thing, because Tencent doesn't have a history of fucking up their studios, right?
Yeah. Tencent's goal is to survive if the Chinese government decides microtransactions are now illegal.
Yeah,
like
the always looming threat of the Chinese gaming apocalypse. Like that's their goal, to survive that. So yeah, it's really incomparable.
more last bit of Xbox news. They've announced their storage expansion prices. They've only announced 2. Presumably there will be 3, because it would be fucking insane if there wasn't. So who knows? But you get 512 gigabytes for $139.99, and you get 2 gigabytes for $399.99.
You mean
Both
terabytes?
of these prices?
Terabytes.
Oh yeah, terabytes. 2 terabytes for $399.99. These are already higher than what you'd pay for a PS5
Yes.
upgrade.
And this is what people
And-
kept trying to explain, but fanboys wouldn't listen to. Already the 2 terabyte of this really great drive that I use in my PC and my PS5. 2 terabyte version, $60 less right now on Amazon.
Yeah. And that's just available now.
Yeah.
And it's only gonna get cheaper. There has never once been an instance of like proprietary storage that reduced in price in a way that it should have.
Yeah. And it's
Like
not,
that shit is profit production.
yeah, the open market creates competition, so they have to lower the price. Them letting Seagate or whoever, I believe it's Seagate, have the exclusivity on this is why the price is higher. That and Microsoft wants a cut of it themselves. Sony doesn't get a cut if Western Digital or Samsung or whoever sells me a 2 terabyte drive. So $60 saved.
Well, you see, Dan, on the PlayStation, people buy games, so Sony gets a cut of those game sales that go onto these bigger hard drives.
Oh God! I was like, "What do you mean? How is this incomparable to?" Oh shit! Damn you!
Okay, Xbox has Game Pass.
Yes, that's why they have to charge you more for storage, because they don't get a cut if you download a bigger cut if you download 150 games off Game Pass.
Jesus Christ, you're not wrong, but damn.
Stop that.
Fuck.
Not making sense.
But yeah, it's a shame we're already at that point, because every time we had this conversation, I was like, pretty soon we'll see that. I didn't think year 1.
Right? Like within the first year isn't even up yet.
Yeah, we haven't hit 12 months, and already it's like there's a $60 difference. Well, hey, this is great for those people who bought a Series S. They'll get tons of space.
Hell yeah.
Just have to spend what's that, as much as a Series X on it.
This isn't news. This isn't news, but the Series S is selling better than the Series X on Amazon, at least.
It's I would think it's easier to produce. That's my going theory. They're able to manufacture more.
I still wouldn't have expected this.
Me neither, because frankly, it is the opinion of this reporter that the Series S kind of sucks. It is literally the compromise console. You don't have enough space. You don't have enough GPU power. But hey, it gets you to next gen.
I think it's really weird they're even producing enough to sell more.
Hey man, if they're selling this well,
I guess.
then why fucking not?
Yeah, get everyone in that trap with like the arcade system.
Yeah, this is the arcade console of this gen for sure. Except for eventually you could strap a hard drive to the arcade console.
Right, you can't strap a disk drive
Well,
to
you
this.
can strap.
You can't strap a disk drive or a
that's
better
right.
GPU.
It's digital.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I forget that part.
It's the ultimate
it doesn't
scam.
matter because of Game Pass. It doesn't matter because of Game Pass. Game Pass negates all of it. Everything's about Game Pass
Game
now.
Pass, I'm invincible now. Now you can't touch me. Lila, no takebacks.
Yeah, yes, that is. Thank you, Casey, for your impersonation of Phil Spencer on the playground.
I'm going to deepfake Phil Spencer's face onto an 8-year-old and have him say that while wearing a business suit.
Yeah, but under it is a cool T-shirt of a Jiggy.
Yes,
Or just put Phil Spencer's face on Butters when he's being Professor Chaos.
Oh my God. Yeah, so this is kind of nuts because the Series X, Series S version of Forza Horizon 5, also not news, but I'm going to start downloading it the moment this podcast ends, is 103 gigabytes. And on the Series S, that's a shitload of your storage.
Yeah.
Wait, when does that come out?
It's out now.
What?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
No
Either
way.
that or it just lets you pre-download.
Yeah, it might be preload right
It's
now.
out.
1 second. People are pre-downloading Forza Horizon 5 then. Let me see. Okay, that's November. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's just preload.
They
just preload 2 weeks ahead or whatever.
Man, that's it.
I mean, they don't sell copies anymore, so marketing is now weird.
Oh my God, I didn't actually look at the real story. The last gen version's even larger because they can't stream the assets as fast from a hard drive. It's 116 gigs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you can't say there's not enough fidelity in this game. You can't. That game looks immaculate. Yeah, some people have already been playing it. They're talking about it a bit. John Linneman was like blown away by it. So I'm very excited for Forza Horizon 5. Got to get Kana done before that comes out.
Last bit of normal news before we go into the hell bonus round.
Oh, okay, great.
Concerned Ape, the developer / creator of Stardew Valley, announced their new game, Haunted Chocolatier, which seems to be mostly the same thing, but you're making chocolate in a haunted mansion, and the trailer has like you going into like rooms in the mansion, but it leads to like outside and you gather materials and stuff. They seem to make this is another project they're taking on all on their own, which seems silly because I think they're fairly well off because Stardew Valley sold such an astronomical amount of copies.
Oh yeah, absolutely. There's no way they didn't make absolute bank on it.
But it also had a publisher, and that this one they said they're self-publishing, so maybe the publisher dicked them down a little bit on Stardew Valley.
Hope not.
Oh yeah, hope not. But yeah, it looks neat. I really like Stardew Valley. I wish they had said they were hiring a writer, because the worst part of Stardew Valley was like pathetic, like 1.5 dimensional cardboard cutouts the characters were.
Not even 2. How's
It's
that?
like not even 2. It's like here's our girl with purple hair. She likes weird rocks. That's her character.
She likes weird rocks. Man, that sounds like a band name.
She's not even goth. She's like vaguely goth coded.
What is this placebo effect goth thing we got going on?
Yeah,
homeopathic
yeah,
goth.
that's how she is. Homeopathic goth. If you dissolve 1% goth into the water, it retains all the goth. And now it's time to talk about a bunch of horrible things. Let's start with the Nintendo Switch Online price hike for their new thing, their expansion pack.
Are they also hiking the old thing, or
No, for the new thing. It's just a new thing.
You got me scared.
So last Nintendo Direct, they announced that they were expanding Nintendo Switch Online. You would get Genesis games and N64 games. They didn't tell us a price. Dan got scared. He was right to get scared because it's going from $20 a year to $50 a year, $80 a year for the family plan. If you want this version on the family plan.
That's fucking...
But you also get to rent the new DLC for Animal Crossing that costs $25. So it's literally just them trying to trick you into thinking it's only a $5 hike instead of a $30 hike.
So
because you get this $25 DLC to rent.
Yeah, you
for
don't
the time
even
that you
keep
get
it?
to have this plan. No, you don't get to keep it. It's not a purchase.
Yeah, the moment you stop having Nintendo Switch Online, you stop having the DLC.
So all that DLC stuff just disappears from your game, or you can't boot your game anymore. I'm scared.
You can boot your game.
I have no idea.
Some bird comes in and steals all the stuff you got. I have to wonder if some of this price hike was tied to the fact that they've added Sega stuff there. Because if so, cut out Sega. I don't need it.
This is a $30 price hike. There's no way Sega has the leverage.
Yeah, I feel like at least a chunk
that's
of it might
insane.
be from like paying them off.
No.
But not a
$30.
chance.
There's no way.
Chunk of $30
not
is
even
again what I am.
One
I
or
will put
two.
down here. There's no way they're even getting a third.
Okay.
There's no way they're getting over $10 out of this.
All right. On the off chance the audience somehow thinks Casey thought $30 was amounting to Sega, which no, that's not at all.
No. I just, out of the $30 they're adding, there's no way Sega's walking away with $10 a month from every Switch owner. No,
Not
way.
a chance.
Not a fucking
This
chance.
is really obviously like they saw this weird chance to use like a phone plan strategy on people.
Oh yeah, it's terrible. I think this is the worst it's ever been.
Yeah, like Nintendo is becoming like these weird people turning you upside down and shaking you out for your wallet, when that always was sort of Nintendo's goal not to be that.
Right.
Which is why they always used potato hardware.
Well, not only that, not necessarily sourced from that part of their company, but if you recall, they didn't want to get into mobile games because of that. And then when they did Super Mario Run, it was a game you bought. You didn't do a free to play with monetization. And then that bombed. And that began their evil arc.
Yeah, then they started embracing every
Then
single
they became
thing.
the Joker.
That was the villain backstory.
Dan, you said this last week when we were talking about the potential of the Switch successor not being backwards compatible. What if they just hit 7th gen now?
Oh no.
Jesus Christ. I remember there was something else about like Nintendo hit 7th gen really late that happened sometime recently.
Yeah, when we're on stream, we're talking about that was the Wii U because it was their first HD console and it was bad.
Yeah, it used Blu-rays, which made the loading take a really long time. It had cool ideas for media and other stuff, but it all kind of was clunky and shitty, and the whole thing was being weighed down by the
a big
Albatross.
Fisher-Price toy.
Yeah, that really weighed it down. It's like they fused the Kinect into the console.
Yeah.
You know, like Microsoft tried before they went, what the fuck are we doing?
Oh God, we're $100 more than the PS4, and people think we don't have used games, and we're weaker. Abort.
Yeah.
Fart noise.
Time for we now enter the true Dark Souls. The real Dark Souls begins now.
Okay.
So Destiny 2 is selling you an expansion and then being like, the only way to get the end game content for this expansion is to buy the deluxe version. Also, we have 4 season passes in a year? How the fuck does Destiny 2 work?
Oh, okay. I know a little bit of how it works. They have these seasons that are like Season of the Chosen or Season of the Lost. And during those, they have like they have additional missions, full cutscenes and stuff that progress the story. So it's like that thing Final Fantasy 14 does for free, where it's patches. They charge you for those, and then they have new weapons and playlists and stuff.
This is like the in-game dungeons in Final Fantasy 14 cost you $25.
Yeah, they said that the dungeons, which are in Destiny, that are like raids but actually approachable, and then that they're putting those behind the deluxe edition paywall. So it's like $80.
That's insane.
To get all of the Witch Queen's stuff.
And it now has like the shell game problem that like Anthem had, where it's like, well, you if you need a chart to explain the monetization of your game and what to buy or not, you fucked up.
Yeah, that's honestly what it feels like with everything Destiny 2 related now. It's just this giant chart of who knows.
Yeah, it was really unfortunate when they announced that Forsaken was being ripped out. So that story is also gonna be gone, because when they said that, I thought they meant the first thing Destiny 2 put out DLC wise, and I was like, that's the thing they're hitting. It's like, no, that's the one that killed Cade 6. So it's the one that they cut to during Sony's worst E3 from the barn.
Oh God!
So they're cutting that expansion out. That's like 2.5-ish years old, which Destiny YouTubers I watch saying, yeah, this is like if Destiny 1 deleted the Taken King.
Yeah.
That's another element to all this that's so psychotic to me. Like, you're taking away content I paid you money for.
Yeah, I know. It's that.
Why?
And also,
so you can claim you're helping me by making the fucking install size bigger? I'll live with it. Fuck you.
Yeah, I know. I would rather a 350 gigabyte game.
Same.
Yeah.
As the guy who literally, I didn't play Destiny 2 at launch. I bought it really close to launch, and then I wanted to get into it with the new consoles, and they're like, we deleted the original Destiny 2. I'm like, what? Like, that's been the whole problem. And to see them drive further down this road, I'm like, when the fuck is a good time to get in? I don't even fucking know anymore.
When you bought before launch, did the new console idea happen at the same time?
What, with the I'm tired of loading, or
that you would wait until the new consoles?
No, I just got really busy.
Okay. Oh, okay, good, because that feels like the most insane Dan's been yet. He's like, I'm gonna wait 4 years.
No, I mean, Destiny 2 isn't that old, but I got it the January after it launched.
Okay.
And I was just a little busy, and I was like, they're going to do that thing where they repackage the whole game with the good shit and then sell that to me. And I was planning on jumping in whenever they did that, because the Taken King did that and was great.
Yeah.
Like, the Taken
I just
King was
thought
great.
you were like, I picked up this game. I'm going to wait 4 years for the next console to come out. It's going to really bang.
Even if I was that level of insane, it sucks to have the game you bought deleted.
Oh yeah, no, this part is awful. This
Yeah.
part fucking sucks, and there's like, it's indefensible. I bought a thing, and I can't play it anymore.
Yeah, I own the deluxe edition of Destiny 2.
Oh
That
my
means I own nothing.
Oh yeah, I also own the deluxe edition, which means I own nothing.
So yeah, I'm just sitting here with Destiny 2 now, and I'm like, literally, I just want to know when you're going to get it together and it's going to feel normal coming in.
Well, they're asking you to pay
Never.
$80 for an expansion. So yeah, like Phil said, never.
Like, they're doing this thing from me digging in and looking at this shit. It's like, so you want to be a $60 premium experience, more than $60 because you have to pay $60 to get each expansion, but also have the structure and monetization of like fucking Rose Online, the fucking Korean MMO.
I was like,
One of those
you're digging on this one.
one of those games that just like sticks a million needles in you and tries to suck out all your fluids. It's like, why should anybody pay you money to go into that grinder?
Yeah, I don't know. Like, this would make any level of sense if the game was just free. Like, and then they had monetization. I could see cycling content. But this game is far from that.
Because I read stuff, it's like you have to pay money to do this. You have to pay money to do this feature. I'm like, if you're paying for this fucking if you're paying $100 for the next year of Destiny 2, how fucking dare you ask those people for any more money for anything?
I never had this problem with Destiny 1 because I would just build up the content, right? I would get all the content as I paid money, and that was fine. And Destiny 2 entered this really weird space where it was like, you bought this game for money. That doesn't exist anymore. You need to buy these expansions. We're letting you know right now what's on the table is we may just shelve that in the future.
This is just unlike any game. Like any service game where it's just like they don't delete it. Like with Avengers, I don't lose that campaign. It might be hard to level, but I don't lose the campaign.
Nah, check it out. They're totally going to do an expansion. Wakanda's going to get deleted.
God,
and
can
they're
you
like,
imagine
we
the news
deleted
cycle?
Africa. I'm sure that's going to be a really good headline for them.
Yeah, they're really there is no parallel. No one's this stupid.
Yeah, I know.
I understand why this is happening. I really fucking do. It's all tech oriented. They have a nightmare because this isn't even about the install sizes. Like, they have been clear. This is about them being able to do shit in their game that is fucking massive and how long it takes to build the game.
Yeah,
because
and
their
it's
engine was
upkeep.
never fucking designed for this to begin with.
Yeah, because I remember reading a lot about them when they first decided to make the Destiny Content Vault TM, where it's just they have to upkeep every single aspect, every zone, and every mission in this game. And eventually, and they like look at the metrics and it's like, no one's playing this old stuff. And people still want us to bring back Destiny 1 content. So they made this call. And I'm like, I really wish you just had a Magic game that was 600 gigabytes.
I just wish they made a newer game. Like, I was fine with there being a Destiny 2.
Right.
When I played it at launch, I didn't like the Crucible all that much. So that kind of was part of why I didn't stick with it for that long. And I was like, well, maybe they'll improve things from here. And they improved it by deleting the content I bought. I just, if they would have spun up a Destiny 3, that would have been really great.
They fixed the Crucible and made it 120 frames a second and then deleted the rest of the game.
I know, isn't that fucked up?
But then you want to play Gambit?
No!
No one does.
The most deranged part of this is bring back Destiny 1 stuff. Destiny 1 stuff isn't Destiny 1. I can go play that. That is a real game that is still existing.
Yeah, but no one's playing it anymore.
Yeah, no, Bob, it wouldn't be 120 frames per second. To be frank, I did go back to Destiny 1 and play it to play the old content.
Yeah, like that exists in a zone.
And people,
Destiny 2 stuff is gone forever.
And here's the thing. Let's use our fucking brains, right? Yes,
Okay.
people would love it if the Destiny 1 content could come into Destiny 2. And what we're figuring out quickly, it can't.
Yeah.
Because you can't fit it in with the shit you already made.
Yeah, just make a separate game that is Destiny 3 and is a compromise that uses stuff from the old game, but has all new stuff.
I mean, they clearly
clear
just need to
cutoff.
figure out, technologically speaking, like, make it next-gen exclusive if you fucking have to.
Yeah.
Make a game that can do this, and you don't have to rebuild your entire database every time you move a trash can in fucking Russia.
Yeah, I think that's just what everyone wants, where we're going to make a Destiny 3, so we're going to be quiet for a while, and then nothing in Destiny 2 is deleted. So then you'll end up with 3 games, each with unique content
Right.
that did not disappear. Because right now it's a FOMO beast
Yes.
where millions of people will play it and buy the thing and go, I'm enjoying this. I'm enjoying the current content and I'm keep going. But anyone who was really behind or didn't get into it at all is like, here's a mountain of stuff that just doesn't exist anymore that, I don't know, watch a YouTube video
Right.
and find out what happened in the Red War.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah, and that's the thing that fucking pisses
off.
me off. This isn't FOMO for me, it's COMO. I'm certain I missed out. Certainty of missing out.
You should coin that. That's pretty solid.
I can't believe it.
Yeah, I saw.
I don't watch YouTube videos of Let's Plays. I make them. So I don't want to go watch someone else play through that shit to have experienced it.
Yeah, it's really messed up that I stopped halfway through the story of Destiny 2.
Oh, that fucking sucks.
I'm now just like, yeah,
you
I'm
should have played all of that so you would see that Halo Infinite stole all of it.
And the funny fucking thing here is that with Destiny 1, people had fears of this sort of concept. Like that the game would change and then something you liked about it would go away. But it never did until Destiny 2. Really late into Destiny 2's life. So here's the question. All the announced Destiny 2 stuff, right?
Yeah.
How many years out do they have that plan? 3?
At least 2, yeah.
Okay.
I think we got the new one coming out now. This Witch Queen one. I think there's at least 2 more.
Oh,
Yeah, every time they talk about it, they give the name of the new thing, which is Red Queen or something, and then they say, and then the next thing.
Yeah, because last year they announced their current expansion that was coming out at the time, and then they said, here are 3 more. And then they just put the year for each one.
I don't know why they did that.
So I'm really compelled to
Because
just...
they have no intent on making Destiny 3.
Yeah, they might have an intent on making Destiny 3, but it's not going to happen soon enough for them to do no commercial products the whole time. Because keep in mind, they divested from Activision in the middle of this. They still need money.
And they're incubating that new game that NetEase is making them make. Like
Right.
that new IP.
And that's cool.
Yeah.
And I definitely will give that a chance. I'm really... The Destiny 2 situation, I just keep concluding, yeah, I guess I just sit out the next 3 years and play whatever's left at the end.
That's really unfortunate. I genuinely thought that they were like, the next thing they were going to vault was like some Osiris thing that happened 3 months after launch. And they're like, no, here's the thing 1.5 years after Destiny 2. And I was like, oh shit, I was so wrong. This is hell. We literally asked, is Forsaken shelved? And I checked and I'm like, no, it seems like they're not doing anything with that anytime soon. They announced, I said that 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
In a conversation where we're just hanging out. That's fucked up.
Yeah. Yeah, it sucks. Hopefully we hit a point with Destiny 2 where we're not screwed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Okay, let's continue the Hell March.
What do you mean? I thought that was it.
Okay, time to talk about Star Citizen. So Star Citizen now has forced drug overdose based PvP mechanics unintentionally that let people rob new players or players hanging out in safe zones.
What are you talking about?
You know that hobby grade tweet from Pitchford? You just did that, but from Satan? I'm going to need you to explain what these words mean.
Okay, so a normal game.
Uh-huh.
A normal game.
Yeah.
Even a PvP focused game like an MMO that's on a PvP server.
Yeah.
Like the capital cities won't have PvP because it wouldn't be able to fucking do anything.
Yeah.
Star Citizen has that. They understand. But unfortunately, they decided that if somebody dies, you can rob them, which most meat grinder games now no longer let you do. So people, as they do, found out that you can't attack somebody in a zone where PvP is disabled, but you can inject them with medicine.
What?
And Star Citizen has overdose mechanics. So people are running around. You go into like the market district in like the capital space station or whatever, and 1 million people inject you with fucking what's that really strong painkiller
Vicodin?
that they give you?
Morphine?
Yeah, Vicodin. Like 1 million people inject you with Vicodin and you just die. And then people take your stuff.
It's real bad. How do you... Oh, maybe they'll fix it.
Some people have given Star Citizen upwards of $400,000 for spaceships that don't exist yet, even in the game. Well, of course, they don't exist in the real world, but they don't even exist in the virtual world yet. Let's follow that up by talking about New World.
Oh, okay.
So in an MMO, the way you balance the economy of an MMO usually is like you decide, okay, there will be this much money for each player, more or less, in circulation, and you have money enter the system, like you have mobs drop it, or you include vendor trash that people sell, and that gives the money, and then you have it leave by having them buy things from NPC vendors, which takes the money out of circulation, or you have them like you have them spend the money to NPCs that deletes it, essentially, like removes it from circulation. New World has such a terrible system that money is too valuable to spend now. So like, imagine if you had no unit of currency smaller than $1, but $1 had the value of like 1,200 eggs.
What?
So you can't really go grocery shopping because money is worth too much. So they're now using purely the barter system instead of any of the in-game systems. And apparently people are no longer doing PvP because PvP lets you take territory and there's taxation on the territory. So now money is so valuable, people aren't using it in any capacity, so the economy is imploding.
Jesus fucking Christ.
This is insane.
All I hear about is streamers that play getting pissed that people keep starting wars every hour.
Yeah, we haven't done the check-in. How's it doing on Twitch?
Okay, here we go.
Now time to...
Let's get some guesses. KZ, how many people do you think are currently watching the New World? Or New World on Twitch?
9,800.
Bob.
I'm gonna say it's still up there. I'm gonna say we're sitting at 15,000.
Okay. Let me write these down so we can make sure. Okay. KZ 9,800, Bob 15,000. Feel.
I'm sure at least one of those huge MMO streamers picked it up, so I'm going to say 30,000.
30,000. I haven't made it to it yet. I'm going to just... Man, I'm really close to like KZ's number.
I actually was going to initially do 15K, then went, fuck it. It's nighttime. Maybe it's 9,800.
I'm gonna do 11,000 because I think it'll drop really low from where it was, but not quite rock bottom. But that would be really funny. Okay, let me see real quick. New World. Oh, here we go. Okay. Is that... So I've never done this before. Hey, Field, do you want to do it?
Okay, let me look it up here. Give me
See,
a second.
I didn't realize it didn't sort it by high to low by default, and I'm like, okay, then I'll search it up, and then I went nah, and I'm like, okay.
69,000 right now.
69. Okay, so they're doing way better.
And I'm
than
clicking on it, and one of them is 22,000. So like I said, one of those big streamers just picked that up, and will probably play it for a couple months.
Weird.
Right?
I can't
and then
believe
once they go away, it'll fall down into through the floor.
I can't believe Twitch didn't recommend for me watching New World streams. Shock.
And this is barely news, but I'll bring it up anyway. WoW is apparently so fucked that the CEO is selling boosted raid runs.
What does that mean?
And what that means is someone is paying in-game gold, a lot of it, to be carried through in-game content to get the loot. And this is
being run by the CEO.
Yeah, Mike Ibarra, formerly of
he was streaming it. He's like, we're doing sold runs through this in-game content on stream. And I'm like, if your game was healthy, that wouldn't be happening.
Are you telling
people wouldn't be doing this?
Are you telling me Mike Ibarra came over to World of Warcraft to be a Sherpa? Is that what you're fucking talking? Because that's insane. That thing you just said.
Yeah. Because people were like, "Oh man, he actually plays. That's cool." This was a month ago when he got christened as the 2-part lead over there, and then he's doing this. And what kind of got me about this was the reaction, where every person who plays WoW says it's no big deal. This is normal. I'm like, oh, so it's normal to just not give a shit about any aspect of the game ever. Where it's like,
so
wow.
Here's my understanding. Everyone who does in-game content in WoW is an asshole.
Okay. All right.
So
sure.
they don't want to do it with anyone who hasn't already finished it at least once. So this creates like the 5 year, you have to have 5 years experience in this job that's only existed for 2 years problem. And also, in-game raiding in WoW is so expensive because there are so many consumables and money you have to spend to do the shit that the guilds, the raiding guilds, now because remember, in WoW, in-game content is 25 players.
What are you doing over there?
Yeah. Like Final Fantasy 14 has like one set of 24 player things per expansion,
And those are
they
are casual things.
They are casual things. Like you can do them over the thing. And if you want the super hyper sicko mode shit, that's the ultimate raids that are 8-person.
Yeah.
Like there's no super hyper sicko mode of the 20 of like the big things, which there is in WoW. And also, let me put it this way: there's usually 4 to 5 things in a WoW expansion that are the same size as the one big thing in 14. Like the 24-person thing in 14. There's like 5 of those in a WoW expansion. So you just have to pay them to get geared up so you can do them more forever until the sun goes out. And apparently my understanding is that gold buying has gotten so bad in WoW that you're just expected to do it.
Yeah, this
Like,
is
unless
awful.
you spend every woking... The fucking shadow of Jeff Kaplan continues to loom over WoW and may never leave. It's unspeakable how one person could is only now being slowly removed from poisoning an entire genre for 20 years.
Like, everything I learned about that is raiding is an entirely pain in the ass on there with so many consumables and stuff. And it just seems like a nightmare. Where it's like you have to do all this. I'm like, what if you made an MMO like 14 where you just queue in with high tiered gear and learn how to be proficient at a fight?
Well, you have that. You have that stuff, KZ, but then you also have the hyper super ultra sicko mode shit, which is most of the in-game content because of Jeff Kaplan. If you don't know Jeff Kaplan's backstory, he was the head of one of the top raiding guilds in EverQuest. That's why he got hired at Blizzard to be the head designer of WoW, because he was like the people getting world firsts on EverQuest content, where you had to have 72 people.
Right.
Yeah, that's just how MMOs back in the day lived up to the name of MMO.
Yeah.
Massive.
Yeah, this is a lich that was born like 20 years ago or some shit that is still lingering on to this day as a crystallized state of what the genre was then. Could you imagine a Call of Duty from that long ago was still alive? We'd be like, what the fuck is wrong with this game?
Yeah, it just comes off as really terrible because even there's insanely hard shit in 14 that's 8-man things where it's like this is an 18-minute fight that starts over if you die. And it's like, okay, I need to learn every gonzo mechanic that this thing has.
Yep.
And it's truly challenging.
You can get,
and there's like a low amount of room for mistake across those 8 people.
Yeah, but now you got to do that for an entire platoon. That's the MMO part.
Right.
Where
That's
it just
what,
gets nuts.
and another element of it is that a person can have 7 friends who play the same game.
Yes.
You don't have 24 other friends who play the same game. Now you're forming like weird bands of people who don't really need each other, who don't really know each other, who have to do this content.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what an MMO was, yeah.
Yeah, that's what made
That's
people
what
form
EverQuest
guilds
and
with
11
weird
and
people they'd never met.
Yeah.
And do these fights even feel like designed to so everyone's like putting the same amount of like work and has the same amount of like engagement?
I have no idea what in-game WoW
Yeah,
content
because I have to question it because 14's 24-man content, for reference, is 3 chunks. The boss is really big, so one chunk's over here, one chunk's over here, and they're like doing out those mechanics, and even then it's not the most engaging thing. The 8-man stuff, everyone is expected to do a lot of jobs.
Everything I've heard is everyone needed to be on top of it in those 24 plus people raids.
Yeah, in WoW raids, you have to be functioning at 100% like clockwork.
Yeah,
it literally is military style training a platoon level of insane.
Yeah, like KZ, imagine if like all the most of the challenge, not all, because there is mechanics sometimes, but imagine if like most of the challenge in 14 was just doing your rotation absolutely perfectly. Or else you fail the DPS check of the boss and everyone dies.
Yep.
Yeah, this
like a thing in WoW when I played, because I dabbled in in-game content sometimes, was like we have 4 healers on the main tank, and they're syncing their things so heals are hitting him every single tick, or he dies instantly.
Yeah, everything I hear about WoW just sounds like the worst. Like, in no part is there ever a positive game mechanic I hear about WoW ever.
I haven't heard about them adding one of those to the game or that existing in the game in a good decade, frankly.
Yeah.
At no point did they seem to make a lot of things better. It just seemed to be the same game, and they had really bad content they kept adding.
Yeah, but then I started following that one, the one big WoW streamer, so I got to learn about every mechanic they have a problem with and recent stuff, and it's like, holy shit. It sounds like they keep putting out expansions, and then they have to roll back 80% of it.
Yeah, like WoW has completely changed like the structure of the classes like 4 times. Like, by which I mean the abilities you have, and WoW had talents. So where you like it's passive things, or like makes your ability it's passive improvements to your stats or abilities. They've revamped all that like 6 times, like every single expansion.
Yeah, that's insane.
Yeah, that's really rough. 14 just adds a couple more buttons.
Yeah.
Actually, more recently now, they just make it so if you do your rotation right, one of your buttons morphs into a new button for a later part of your rotation.
Nice.
Yeah, so
That's neat.
So like you do your Dragoon move really well, your starter becomes like stronger and does like a different animation.
See, people want games on Mac. They have Final Fantasy 14. There you go.
Yeah, there you go. Of course, some of that is also adapting to the fact of using a controller, so making sure that all fits on all the buttons.
Right.
That's like part of it where they can't demand the hype, because your global cooldown in WoW is way faster than in Final Fantasy 14. So there's much more opportunity to fuck up your rotation.
Yeah. I do appreciate all of that, because I'm like, I don't want this to be fucking super insane. But I do like some mechanical complexity in how I'm putting together my stuff there.
But we escaped the hell round.
Oh, okay.
Cool. Great.
Is there a heaven round?
No.
No.
Oh.
That's being done.
Yeah!
That's true. I'm going to get Whataburger after this. But in the next week, we will be doing, we will have done Jack 3 and Jack X on stream by the time you hear this.
Nice.
I would keep your ear to the ground to see when we're going to do those PSP games, because I might get antsy and I might want to do it before next Friday.
That's fair. Those are
who knows?
not winners.
Maybe they do both of them in a row in one stream.
That's kind of what I'm hoping for, because they would both add up to be short of the Jack 2.
Most games would.
Yes.
Yeah, some Final Fantasy games.
But aside from that, I don't really have anything else to announce. I'm going to try to keep it chill personally and also play some Kana. Who knows? Maybe I just get really fucked up at some point in the next week and watch season 2 of Ted Lasso. KZ, what do you got going on?
I'm going to be co-hosting your Jack streams.
Cool.
And also streaming more Shin Megami Tensei 4 Apocalypse. I think that I'm trying to remember what the date is when this comes out. Yeah, and also the impending impact of Mario Party.
Yes, that's true.
The impending.
Is that next Tuesday? Isn't tomorrow?
It's that Friday.
Okay.
Yes, it's the 29th.
So nothing else is competing with Senran Kagura right now on Tuesday. Got it.
Yes, nothing at all.
By the way, I'll jump in right here to say that I won.
Okay.
Because that Senran Kagura game has a female version of one of the characters from Shinobi-Do, which is a successor to Tenchu. So I'm counting that as my gamer becoming real.
Won.
Yeah, it's messed up, man. I didn't let you win
damn it.
during the episode. Why did the universe let you win?
Damn.
Our podcast network is so strong, even when we're not trying to predict things, we predict things.
Yeah. It's called being brilliant. Field, do you have anything else going on in the next week?
I'm just going to try and gear up for the Game of the Year podcasts, because we're now in the point where stuff's building up.
Yeah, I've got 9 or 10 games I think I need to blitz through by the end of the year.
Like, the Caligula Effect 2 came out this week, and I was like, a lot of people say it's way, way better than the first one, which was neat, so I need to at least look at it.
Did you know Ted Lasso named his group the Diamond Dogs? Good night, everybody.
That's not even real.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Big Think Dimension. If you would like to support us, head on over to www.patreon.com/gbpodcast, where you can get extra podcasts and early access to our anime podcast, Chugging Bleach and Mondo Cool. Head on over there and become a $5 backer or a podlord today.
This month's GigaBoots executive producers are Esme, E. Lee Broyles, Starfalcon, Spaceman Spiff, Red Blaze 27, Brendan O'Sullivan, Dobo Muito Real, Ace Gundam Pilot Adam Admar, Cooper Tank, Zilter, and Virmvarm. Thank you very much to our executive producers. And also these gamers. If you want to be a gamer or ascend to God Kinghood, then head on over to patreon.com/gigaboots today.